Oh, big battle here. Pippo Durrani attacking on Barbosa. Looks to the inside, down into the heel of the boot. Callie's through.
Wow, we talked about get creative as one of the keys to victory, and we talked about those bonus points on the line. He's doing it just in the nick of time as we come up on that 3-hour mark, where those bonus points will be awarded in the Patrón Cup. He'd worked him over for 3 corners and finally got a good enough run there out of the toe of the boot to get the job done.
He had dropped the lefts exiting the toe of the boot, and then was able to make that pass stick nonetheless, heading into the heel. That was an incredible run by Pippo Durrani, and as you rightfully point out here, we are 5 seconds away from actually getting to halfway. So I was a little ambitious on that.
Nice, there it is.
Just hit it, and boy, if he can hang on here and come by and cross the line, that's the bonus points for the Tequila Patrón North America.
Well, incentive there. It's like a mini checkered flag halfway through here. Get those bonus points, but that's why they're here. That's why they return, to try and win this Patrón Cup. Obviously, they display the Patrón colors on their car as well, so keeping it in the family.
Well, we were sitting in break watching. He talk about the get creative. He was running some amazing lines, trying to figure out a way to carry that kind of speed.
Yeah, he really was, and he got right to him, and Joao was doing a great job of placing the car in the right spot, but he couldn't be thwarted. You can't afford to get into a situation where you're going to take each other out just because of a bonus point halfway through this race. You got to think about the big picture. That's winning the 6 hours, getting points for the WeatherTech Championship.
And of course, that Tequila Patrón North America Cup is all 4 classes battling for it. So Durrani will get those points. That team in the GT Le Mans category, it's Bill Overland, the 25 BMW. They will get those points. GT Daytona, Matt Bell and Audi. For Stevenson will get the points. And in Prototype Challenge, Kenton Cook in the number 38. And he's pretty well placed in that with the success they had at Daytona. So Kenton happy to be leading at that point as well.
I mean, you bring the boy back, and he's immediately leading a race again, so that's certainly a statement. And it's tough when you sit out for a few months and you're thrown back into the seat, but that's what you have to do as a young driver, deliver every time you sit in the car and make people take notice, and they can't afford to say no for much longer. They're going to want you in their race cars.
Oh, it's interesting to remember at Daytona for JDC Miller when he had that off and they lost him. They had a lot of laps and he lost a lot of it. Late in the race, they put him right back in, and that was a real statement by the team. It's like, all right, things happen, but we have confidence in this young man, and now you can see why.
This battle is heating up right here for the 4th position. Polaro's closed in on Dane Cameron as we see the 2-car hit pit lane from the lead. Perfect timing, perfect strategy. Had just enough fuel to get past that halfway mark, and Jamie, has been quite a run for these guys. They've got to be pretty pumped up as he hits pit lane.
I wish you guys could have heard the round of applause that came from pit lane as soon as Pippo made that pass to gain the race lead. An enthusiastic car now on its marks in the pit box. Scott Sharp getting in. Remember, in order to get points for all of the drivers for the Patrón Endurance Cup, each driver has to do an hour 45 minutes. So Scott Sharp now getting in. Continental tires going on as well. Fuel being completed. We'll see how this driver change takes place. Scott did not carry a seat insert in with them, so one less step for the driver change, but still, guys, that is the holdup here on pit lane.
31 is in, driver change going on. Eric Kern will take over. Felipe Albuquerque, interestingly enough, is entered in both the 5 and the 31 as a spare driver, an extra driver if they need one, but right now it'll be Eric Kern climbing back over 5th when they came in. 5 heads out. There is a little damage to the under tray on the front splitter that you can see, but nothing significant. The 10 also in down at the far end of pit road. Looks like a routine stop and a drink bottle going in. The 10 will get back underway.
And it looked as if the 31 was able to leapfrog. But watch this, Cal. I mean, here's the get creative part.
Yeah, he was looking for the wide line around there, maximizing the radius. Barbosa sees him coming right there. He just closes the door a little bit. Durrani flicks to the outside, 2 of the boot. Kenny hang tough around the outside. Watch this, Barbosa feints a little bit to the outside, doesn't give him a lot of room. He's in the grass. And then he does the over-under into the brake zone for turn 8. Fantastic racing.
And he is just diabolically good on the brakes, isn't he? We've seen that play out. That's how he got to the front at Sebring. And the number 5 now from 2nd makes its way down into pit lane.
Well, Barbosa gave it everything. Bar throwing it at the fence to try and keep the lead. But Brian, once again, we see this Action Express team executing perfectly.
Yeah, here we go. They're going to go to work. It'll be a driver change. Christian Fittipaldi taking over. These guys, some of the best in the business. And I think there's as much pride with the pit crews battling out against the other teams as there are the drivers battling with each other out on track. Going to work, tear off coming off, fuel going in, and this is setting up to be an intense battle. The Mazda still running strong, as is the number 2. Honda, Mazda, Chevrolet, they're all up there. Fittipaldi gone.
Christian in behind the wheel of the 5 car. Looked like John Pugh jumping into the 60. See his first action of the day. So the Shank boys hanging tough. And remember, there's a fierce manufacturers battle as well. We talked about it. There's 1 point separating Chevy from HPD. And HPD before this round of pit stops certainly had the lead, so there'll be a swing tonight if that stays that way. John Pugh coming off his debut run at Le Mans, top 10 finish.
63 set up, 63.
So we're understanding now Scuderia Corsa is expecting.
Oh, wow. Eric Curran had a run there on John Pugh as he came out of the pits, didn't have tire temperature. Eric went for the gap, it was closing rapidly. Good evasive action there.
Now you see a graphic kind of explains how that Patrón Endurance Cup points are paid out. Here were the 4 leaders in their respective classes at that halfway point, getting those points.
Yeah, and there's bonus points awarded for the top 3, and you get 2 points if you're running throughout the field. It's hard to make up a lot of ground with the point structure, so that's why they were fighting so hard. We saw it between the 2 and the 5. There's a 2-point swing when you're tied for the lead. You're either going to be a point behind or a point ahead. That's huge.
And the number 90 in. And Brian Till making his way there. The Goose is in.
Tires and fuel, and that's what you do for 6 hours. Don't make a mistake in the pits. Don't make a mistake on the racetrack. And fight over that last stint when you're close enough to get it done. Heard from Troy Fliss earlier. They want to run well here. They want to win this championship. They want to go to France. Right now, the 90 very quick off track. Showing the number 2 on the side of the leader lights when it came in. They're down and gone.
It's a pretty good stop. Very quick indeed.
They've shown good pace here this weekend in comparison to the other Chevy teams. Certainly the P2 cars, the Mazdas and the Hondas have a lot more pace. Here's this outlap from John Pugh. Here comes Eric Curran. He's got a head of steam. He's got tire temperature and trying to thread the S's there. That was close. And you're doing about $1.30 at that point.
And there's not a lot of runoff up there through those infamous blue guardrails leading up through that run in the S's. Here's a look at the number 63. Again, that's the Scuderia Corsa entry. Jeff Siegel behind the wheel. And our leader in, Spencer Pickett, brings the Tribute liveried Mazda down into pit lane.
Again, that Mazda get an excellent fuel mileage. Seem to be stretching it a little bit further. That could be significant on the final run. Maybe they can eliminate a pit stop or a splash needed at the end. Just have to see how this race back times to the 6-hour mark. They just need good, clean pit stops. They can't afford any little miscues like we saw at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca or with the sister car earlier in this race.
Nice stop. He's down, stays on board. So Spencer accelerates out. As you see in the background, the 63 car comes in to pit lane. So while we wait for things to cycle through, we're going to take a quick break. Do stay with us, please. After a thrilling conclusion to the 24 hours of Le Mans, where Porsche passed Toyota for the lead in the final lap, you have to wonder, how can that sort of action be topped? Well, to find out, join us for live coverage of the next round of the FIA World Endurance Championship, the 6 hours of the Nürburgring, on Sunday, July 24th. That's where you can find out. And it all begins at 7 a.m. Eastern Time on Fox Sports 1. I believe my partner alongside will be involved in that one. And well, I'll tell you, after a 24-hour race that had all of the action that race had, just a whole different mindset. I mean, 6 hours will seem like a drop in the bucket, right?
That's right. But certainly going to be great to have a refresh there and talk about some of the things that happened at Le Mans, see the great battle continue in prototype. Toyota, such heartbreak there, losing the win in the final few minutes of the race, and what a battle we saw in GTLM.
Yeah.
Ford now leads that. Billy Johnson, the American Billy Johnson, who finished 4th overall on his Le Mans debut, actually has the points lead with his teammates. I'm not sure you're going to be seeing any further action this year, but just a great testimony to the job that he did on those 3 races he ran this year.
Absolutely. You see the number 70 Mazda that's trying to come back from that refueling infraction, scary moment, and the penalty that went with it. You just saw number 55 on the right side of your screen, Spencer Pigot, driving around the leader in the GT Le Mans category, the 25 BMW of Bill Oberlin. And we talked about during that stop for the number 55, they didn't do the driver change, and they were able to get that stop done very quickly and came out still in the lead, 6 seconds clear of Fittipaldi.
Yeah, it was a great pit stop there, very clean, kept Spencer behind the wheel. He's now in a rhythm, running very fast lap time, so Mazda are certainly ticking the boxes there with the 55 car today. Strong driver lineup. Spencer doing this middle stint here, and really impressive what that young man has done over the last few years. Indy Lights champion last year. Got that opportunity to run the Indy 500. Had a great run there. Ran out of fuel, unfortunately, which cost him a lot of position there towards the end of the event. But nonetheless, great debut, and as I said, top 10 at Road America last weekend. It's been very impressive.
He's sort of become the poster boy for Mazda's Road to Indy program, because I think at every ladder he's won a championship. I mean, I think he's the only guy that's ever done that. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it's all about. You just have to go out and deliver. If you're going to try and do it in terms of some of these scholarships, you have to do it every step of the way, and that's what Spencer's been able to. Got great support from his family. I know his dad, Barry, really well, really great guy, and Spencer's a fine young man and doing great things behind the wheel.
Look here at the number 2 Tequila Patrón ESM entry of Scott Sharp, back in 6th. Did not have the cleanest of stops, as Jamie told us, and really lost some track position here. And Pippo had worked diligently to get up there, but that slow stop, I mean, that's just one of those things. It's a 6-hour endurance race. You can't mess up on a short stop.
No, you shouldn't, not in terms of just regular stuff. I mean, yeah, I get it what Johanna said about different engine that they run to WEC, so it has sort of like different feel to the clutch and stuff like that. But just in terms of the mechanics of doing a driver change, these guys work together, do you know what I mean?
Right.
So you shouldn't have the issues. But remember, Durrani runs in a different car to Scott and Johannes over there. They've split their driving squads a little bit this year, so they're not used to doing all 3 of those guys together, so maybe that's some of the hurdles that are overcoming this weekend.
Here's a look at the leader in GT Daytona, the number 9 Stevenson Motorsport Audi of Matt Bell, and he too has some damage to that left front corner.
Seems to be the popular hooking spot for the Stevenson cars. Seen further damage to the 6 car here today, so they've been in the wars. Meanwhile, the leader pits.
Mr. BMW North America, Bill Oberlin, brings it in. Driver change happening.
Tell you what, he always makes a statement. He just went a tick quicker than his teammate, Kirk Werner. And Bill is always reminding that BMW camp, I may be a bit later in life, but I can still get the job done. He is a hungry driver, and he always executes and gives it 1,000,000%. Great job, Bill.
Really good stop, as you would expect from the BMW Rahal Letterman Lanigan program. And out they go. Here are our 4 class leaders. We'll be right back. You've never made a journey to Watkins Glen International, you have to, and not just because of the track. Look at this. That is the Glen, the infamous Glen here at the end of Seneca Lake in Watkins Glen State Park. And then just a short ways up the hill outside of town lies this remarkable facility. So it's a great place just to come and visit in general, and certainly on a race weekend. But we've got some problems. The number 73, Patrick Lindsay, having issues. You can see that looks like
left rear.
The left rear is down, and we also just saw the 912, there it is, with a left front cut tire in that one. Brian, what's happening with the factory Porsche?
Well, obviously it went down very, very quickly, and you got to wonder if the curbs aren't the culprit yet again. Earl Bamber climbed out, and they put Frederick McElvickie behind the wheel, and they came in, but that left front absolutely tortured. And when you think about these cars going into the bus stop, that double left-hand apex there can be very, very hard on tires. We've seen left side tires particularly be a problem today, and now a left front for the 912.
And we've got a carcass off of the 73 bouncing along. That has exited the car. Boy, and it's a long way to go here to limp this one in.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, it's dispatched itself from the race car, so it's not going to tear up the bodywork any further. And Lindsay's been getting back here at a pretty decent clip, so he's not going to lose the sort of time that we saw Rob and Liddell suffer earlier in the race. 70 cars in. I think this may have been a potential tire problem as well. And Brian's spot on. Those left curbs are the ones you're going to use through the inner loop, and if you get over the back side of those, it's going to cut into that sidewall a little bit. Teams are warned of it, but as you get out there and you get into a battle, you're trying to find every 100th, every 10th of a second you can, and using those curves will give you lap time, but look what it can do to you in terms of your race result.
And Patrick able to get that car down in, tire going on, obviously always refueling. Oh, now they got a little bit of an issue looking up and underneath, getting something out of the way. Now that left rear goes on board. Just topping off with fuel while they're sitting there. If you have to do this stop, you might as well open up the options in terms of your fuel window. Yeah,
the good news is you can do all of the servicing at the same time. You see the 100 board out, so Lucas Luhr's going to be hitting pit lane here shortly in the BMW that's running there in the top 6.
And of course, just a little while ago, right about the halfway point, we saw the result of the great charge Pippo Durrani put on to get that number 2 into the lead. He has since turned over to Scott Sharp, and Justin Bell has tracked him down.
Pippo, it was just a great drive again. You showed us at Daytona and Sebring how you are Mr. Overtaker. You love to go by. This track seemed to suit you as well. That was a great run, right?
Yeah, it was a good run. We managed to get some points for the 3rd hour, which is good for the championship. You know, it's just a shame that we had a little problem while we were doing the driver change. You know, the pit lane is too short for us to undo the belts completely, and Scott being a little bit bigger than I am, using the same seat, it made it a little difficult for him to plug his belts on. But you know, still 2 hours 40 minutes to go, and I'm pretty sure we can get that back and hopefully try the 3rd win.
From in-car and from outside, your car looks so beautiful to drive. What is it like? Tell our viewers to drive this prototype round the newly paved Watkins Glen. It looks beautiful.
Yeah, it's a blast, to be honest. You know, the track is so smooth, and this car is just amazing to drive. And to drive around quick corners like here, you know, it's amazing.
Okay, perfect work. You know what? He does need to get on the Scott Sharp bodybuilding program if he's gonna share the seat. You see that?
I'll tell you what, the guy has an amazing feel in general, but Cal, I mean, he's just brilliant in the brakes, using all the downforce that those cars generate to absolute maximum effect.
Yeah, great talent, great commitment. Love the way he races. He races clean but really hard, and that's a name that you're going to hear a lot about in sports car racing over the next couple of decades, I feel.
Here was a look at the number 5, sitting some 7.5 seconds, off of Spencer Piggott in the lead. Here is the number 10. Jordan Taylor has worked that Wayne Taylor Racing Konica Minolta entry up into the 3rd spot once again. And then the number 90, Visit Florida Corvette DP, sits in the 4th spot. Another 3 seconds or so. There he goes, heading down into the start of the S's as we watch Jordan climb the hill.
Not forget about the big picture of the WeatherTech Championship. The 5 and the 10 are tied at the top right now. So Jordan is not only chasing down 2nd position, he's chasing down the guy he's got to beat for the championship lead tonight. And that is Christian Fittipaldi, who sits in 2nd position in the 5. Curran having another good run here in the 31 Whelen Corvette. Was a lot closer to Mark Goosen till they encountered this traffic. And that's gapped them a little bit. He was only half a second behind crossing the stripe last time by.
Of course, unfortunately, it was these two, the number 90 of Goosen's, when he lost the wing at Detroit. He got to the next corner, didn't even realize he had lost it, turned in, no rear downforce. He got into the wall, bounced back out, and collected Curran.
So you're saying it's intentional, then? He wants to give him a bit of breathing room.
Yeah. Yeah, the closer the walls get, the more he backs off just a little bit. And we hop on board once again with the number 66 Ford as we step away. Dirk Mueller at the helm.
We've been playing around inside of motorsports for more than 10 years. We've been playing with Grand Am and IMSA for over 7 years. So we have series sponsors, and we like to get involved inside of the racing. So we're pretty active at the tracks. We try to make as many events as we can. And for this weekend, because it falls on the 4th of July, we've kind of cooked up a special patriotic U.S. theme for the Glen. So we've designed a guitar in conjunction with IMSA and looking forward to bestowing those on each of the class winners here this weekend.
Oh, please tell me they have a 5th one lying around, because I want one. It's an amazing instrument, and as we're under caution here at the Sahlen 6 Hours of Glen, we'll get to that in just a minute here, but I remember when Mike West was working with the Corvette team, and on Fridays, right at noon, he'd fire his guitar up, and it was a Paul Reed Smith guitar, and hypnotize the crowd with a soaring rendition of the American National Anthem. Pretty impressive stuff. This caution, by the way, is for debris on the track, and it's been building and building and building for some time, and eventually they just decided it's enough, and we've got to go out and do a track inspection and maybe clear things up. And it is also going to be a caution where the pits will be opening, we think, for prototypes this time.
See the wave around occurring right now. Anyone who's strapped between their class leader and the safety car gets that wave around. So a big break there for the Porsches, for the Corvettes. But looking at when teams in GTLM did their last pit stop, BMW may decide to keep both their boys out there or bring them in. It'll be a much shorter fuel stop because they pitted just a short while ago. So we could see when we go back to green, the BMW's in pretty good shape. Everyone else is very close to running out of fuel. So let's say what's happening in the prototype ranks, JB. What's happening with the Patrón machine?
Well, obviously, we saw they had the little delay as they went out with the pits, with the belts. We saw that when Scott Sharp got in. Pipo gave us the update. The car was running beautifully when he was in it. Scott reported back over the radio to the team. The steering is heavy. They are, as you can see, waiting for him to hit the pit lane. And I joked about Scott's physique, but boy, he is solid as a rock. He looks like he works out more than, well, he does. He works out amazingly well. He's a fit man. So when he says that the car is heavy to drive, as they pull to a stop in the box, as you know, there's very little they can do to change that. They are going in the front. You can see them going through the service holes there. They actually are changing. It looks like he has another little electronic component there to switch out on the right-hand side. You can see those access panels there. They're taking a tear off on that front windshield. Pretty dirty, actually, being thrown up here. But I will get an update afterwards on what they actually did. But let's hope it solved their problems. It's too early. This car's running too well for have it taken out by a little thing like this. Brian?
Fuel only down at Action Express for both the 5 and the 31. They're down and away. The 10 was in. I see tires laid out, but I don't know that they put them on, but no tires for the 5 and the 31.
Boy, and what a great stop for the Whelen Engineering. Team Fox, number 31, as work still continuing on the number 2. We'll be back. The GT field making its way into pit lane as it is now open for GT category cars here at the Sahlen 6 Hours of the Glen as this caution continues. The 2 Corvettes along with one of the factory Porsches, but you also see some of the GT Daytona cars are going to be in the pits as well. Going to get very busy down there. At the time, Briscoe and Mueller in the 67 and 66 led, and I don't know that they ducked in at this stage. And here come the Corvettes.
Fuel, tires, driver change on both the Corvettes. Magnussen out, Milner out of their respective cars. Ollie Gavin and Antonio Garcia taking back over right behind them. Then the 68 Scuderia Corsa Ferrari, 4 tires, fuel, no driver change. So a different strategy there. That 68 has been working their way back up. And another quick stop for the 4. They're down and away.
Yeah, I think the only cars that may not have come with the BMWs, Greg, they're on a slightly different fuel strategy, so they'll be in the hole compared to the others who are now topped up. But I do not believe that Werner or Edwards hit pit lane. Only 6 laps on Edwards' car so far in this stint.
By the way, yesterday we saw a very entertaining Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge race. You want to know how it all turned out? Tune in July 10th, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 p.m. Pacific on FS1 to see how it turned out. Lots of action exactly like that on this new pavement, and boy, did it allow for some remarkably inventive lines coming around. And yeah, the profile of those 4 GTs is so low, couldn't see them tucked behind a number of those cars. Soon saw them pop out, yeah, I guess they did make the move into pit lane. And I was kind of going, well, it would be sensible to do that, and they certainly did.
Yeah, it's tough to tell sometimes looking at the timing and scoring screen, dependent on where the teams are pitted, whether they cross the stripe or not. So as you say, it is tough to see them, and that's why they were so strong at the end of those straightaways at Le Mans, I think. And that car was built for speed, and certainly proved it at La Salle.
A couple of nice things here. How nice is it for Troy Fliss to be watching his car leading after some of the issues they've had earlier in the season? And Brian talked about that 68 Scuderia Corsa GT Le Mans Ferrari in the hands of Alessandro Perguidi right now, working its way back up. That's a car with great speed. Sat on the pole at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, and the lights go out on the safety car. So we are going back to green flag at about 2:22 maybe by the time they get around.
I'm not sure I quite get the 90 strategy. I mean, they've got 15 laps on this fuel stint. I mean, about halfway through. Obviously, they now gain track position, and the Goose can chase after it, try and gap the field here. But, you know, when you start to back time the race, you could be adding a pit stop compared to everyone else.
Well, for some reason, the lights have come back on the safety car, so we're going to be delayed getting back to green. We're going to take advantage of this to work in another break. We'll be right back to the Watkins Glen Saline 6 Hour. Lights are out once again on the pace car here at the Sahlen 6 Hours of the Glen. So we should be getting back to racing here, and I'm guessing it'll be about 2:19 left in the race when the field makes its way around. And you can see Mark Goossens in the number 90. Again, running that kind of an interesting strategy approach.
He's basically on half tanks. He's not got fresh tires like the rest of the field, but you know, he's got a little bit of traffic between he and the 60 car. John Pugh currently sits in the second position, so Mike Shank taking the same strategy here as we go back to green.
Rolling into the throttle as the pace car makes its way down into pit lane, and Goossens accelerates up. You can see some of the cars fanning out. The number 31 of Curran. Ooh, big lockup.
Big lockup there. Also see that orange Mazda flare out to the left side there. Didn't make a move as Spencer Piggott still behind the wheel, tucks back in there in the battle with the number 10, currently driven by Jordan Taylor. Eric Curran right in front of him.
Just a little bit up the road. In third is Fittipaldi. There's the number 25 of Werner, leading GT Le Mans in that throwback, both a throwback and patriotic liveried BMW.
So again, GTLM, the leader there, he's a little bit off strategy now. Leapfrogs him to the front by not making a pit stop, but he's got 12 laps on this stint, some of it yellow, of course. So
ooh, look at this.
That is tight. Wow, side by side here. A little touch. They're not happy with one another. This is Jordan Taylor and Eric Curran.
Yeah, Curran obviously felt a little aggrieved, perhaps.
Remember last year, hearing radio communication from Jordan Taylor saying, "I hate this guy," when he was racing against him. That's how fierce these rivalries get at times.
That was Kenton Cook that time locking up big time in the PC class, leading number 38 Performance Tech machine as Fittipaldi rifles through. Let's go back a little bit earlier in that lap, Cal, between the Curran-Taylor scenario.
There we go. There you see Eric Curran. He has a poke down the inside of John Pugh, but Jordan Taylor has a big head of steam here as we go down into the chute. Really close there. I think he's dropping a wheel there on the entry. Then he forces it down to the inside. Eric didn't like that, so he comes back at him. Gives him a nudge. Calmer heads prevail eventually.
Oh boy, a little argy-bargy, to steal your phrase there, all over the place on this restart that we're seeing here.
Pugh has eventually given up those spots here. So Curran moves up to the third position. Taylor and Piggott in tow.
There you see Fittipaldi now, second to Goossens, and then this battle, as you suggest, third, fourth, fifth.
His car seems to be working well. He's doing a nice job here as Jordan Taylor again, using every inch of the road and a little bit more. Probably the Watkins Glen management saying, well, we paved this racetrack and there's still not enough.
It's smooth, now we need it wider. Well, race car drivers, especially when the helmet's on, are a greedy bunch, aren't they? Oh boy, Piggott getting a little bit of a run. Is he going to try something down at a 10? No. Or excuse me, turn 8.
Tucks back in. Spencer knows the Taylor boys really when they're good friends.
Now this is what we were just caught the end of. There's a bump.
There's current going down the inside of John Pugh. PC traffic to the outside, and everyone else threads through that needle.
Explains why Pugh lost a couple spots. He may have lost one, but then that little tap obviously killed his momentum and lost a few more.
This is where the psyche of a race car driver is very interesting. So you've got Spencer Piggott there, good friends of the Taylor boys. He doesn't run this championship on a regular basis, just in for the Enduros. And suddenly you're thrown into this melting pot of the battle on the racetrack, knowing that the 10 car leads the championship. You want that position, but you've got your buddy in front of you. And that's where it gets tough to like really put that to one side and go hard racing.
Well, he got a tremendous run up through the S's. You know, Taylor's going to protect going in, and Spencer again being nice and conservative at this stage of the race. 2 hours and 15 minutes. So lots yet to go. But now let's go back to that contact between the 31 and the 10 now from the driver's perspective, Cal.
Taking another look at this. See there, Jordan Taylor completely committed there to the outside, and that puts him into this position on the inside of the laces of the boot. And maybe Eric Curran didn't realize that Jordan Taylor had made the run at the outside, so initially Jordan Taylor's a bit miffed, and then suddenly Eric Curran's a bit miffed. And here's another look at it. Eric maybe didn't realize that he'd forced Jordan really wide, and then from Eric's perspective, he's probably thinking, well, that was a bit too aggressive, I didn't like that. You're going to take this. And that is the classic argy-bargy.
Absolutely, and that, what we hadn't seen previously was that contact as they headed into the laces. There was a little bit of a couple of taps there as well. So yeah, no love lost, I'm guessing, at this stage here. And you know, getting back to what you were talking about from the psyche for Spencer Piggott, in the end, I mean, he's a paid gun for Mazda.
Oh, absolutely.
And yet you have to bury everything else, don't you, and get around this guy.
You don't do any favors to anyone on the racetrack, even if they're your brother, literally. But you do think about it. You know, if it's a teammate, it's a different dynamic. If it's a really good friend and you're not in a championship battle with that guy, you don't want to ruin his day, ruin his year. So you're just going to give them maybe, you know, 0.1% more leeway in any move you make.
And Spencer, third driver in this car, but you know, we talked, I think, at Detroit about how this next group of tracks are really good for these P2 cars, and if the Mazda wants to haul itself back up into the championship.
The exit speed there, Greg, that was phenomenal that he got through that corner so quickly. And the intensity will definitely ramp up. You look at the clock, there was still over 2 hours to go, and they're still telling these young drivers, be patient, you have a strong race car. Yes, you don't have the track position as he now looks to the inside. Yeah, Jordan's just going to let him go. Probably got the 10 team on the radio to Jordan Taylor saying he's a little bit quicker, don't fight it too hard if he makes the move. But if this was the last 30 minutes, then if there's a victory on the line, everyone's just going to go for it.
Yeah, gloves would be off at this point, but still pretty large chunk of racing yet to go. But on the move once again, the 55 Mazda now up into fourth. Matt Bell in the number 9 Stevenson Motorsports Audi R8 leads GT Daytona here at the Sahlen 6 Hours of the Glen. Thanks so much for staying with us here. This 6-hour classic unfolding and continuing to be immensely entertaining on a lot of different levels. And for Matt Bell, that left front piece of fascia on the car seems a little suspect, but doesn't do much in terms of hurting the pace. He leads 2 seconds clear of Gunnar Jeanette, who's delighted to be actually driving a race car here at the Glen in the WeatherTech car. But Andy Lally in that Daytona winning number 44 Magnus Audi right there.
Well, he's up against the hired gun. Had to use it.
Had to.
But great to see Gunnar back in IMSA competition. We talk about young guys like Ben Devlin who slipped through the net. Gunner's one of those guys. Always been fast, really has been off the radar a little bit for the last couple of years, but he's found a good home here with the WeatherTech entry. Doing a great job holding down that second position. And as we say, with the Pro-Am configuration of the PC and the GTD class. Essentially, if you got 3-driver lineup, 2 of those drivers have to be Pro-Am classification, which is a silver graded, and as we say, a good silver is gold in terms of how it helps your cause.
An absolute value. Everybody knows the value of Andy Lally behind the wheel of anything he drives.
Looking at some of the guys who are already behind the wheel, you got Lally there behind the wheel of the 44. You'd have to think he's going to be the finisher, so he's got a long stint ahead of him. Jerome Bleekemolen sitting in the 5th position behind the wheel of the Viper number 33. You got Balzan already behind the wheel of the 63 Ferrari. That's recovered nicely from that little problem with in the engine bay. Not exactly sure what it was, but they did have to do a fix there. He's still in the mix in the 6th position. So these guys are on long stints here, and with the lows that you're now feeling around this racetrack, they're going to be worn out by the checkered flag.
You know, the other guy would be Bergmeister, sitting in 8th in that Park Place car. And remember, that car, even with that tire issue and limping it around to the pits, they're still on the lead lap and only 46 or so seconds back. So a lot of racing yet to go.
Yeah, that car's been fast here today. Matt McMurray did an awesome job at the start of the race. He was supposed to pull double duty here this weekend, but the car he's going to drive in the PC class, the 20 car, that massive shunt, heading towards the inner loop with Johnny Molan behind the wheel, so we won't be able to do that. But even so, it was a really impressive performance by young Matt McMurray today.
There's a look at the number 23, Team Seattle, Alex Job Racing, Heart of Racing. Number 23, Alec Riberas, behind the wheel of that car. Awfully fast driver, and you wonder if he might be also considered the finisher.
I think the nice thing with that team is when they're running the sprint races, they got 2 finishers in Farnbacher and Ribera, so that really gives them a heavy edge in terms of the strategy that Alex Job and that team can play.
Ironically, both rated as silvers too, so that minimum drive time doesn't play. And here is, he might be not only one of the most talented, but one of the busiest drivers on the planet, Jerome Bleekemolen.
He regularly does 30 to 40 races a year. He is always racing something, and just gets it done. He's a go-to guy, and it's not so much if there's an off weekend, can he go and find something? I think teams look to see if he has an off weekend, we want him.
Yeah, because of his results and his credentials behind the wheel, no question. And, you know, Ben Keating, you know, when they made that option early after not qualifying as well as they wanted, went to the back, did the tire change. Ben just sort of stayed in, kept it close as he does, turned it over to Jerome, who's flying. And then Alessandro Balzan, definitely the guy you would consider the closer in the number 63 team. Remember, they're the points leaders coming in here, and they had a margin of 8 points in hand over the number 23 Porsche. And right now they're sitting back in 6th, the 23 car up in 4th. That would shrink a bit.
So great to see so many manufacturers represented in the GTD class. We talk about balance of performances. We were talking to Tommy Kendall earlier in the show. When you look at that in GTD, the different manufacturers, well, when you look at the fast laps, a 1:45.4 for our leader right now, Matt Bell. Archenbach set that time. A 45.2 for the Porsche of Gunnar Jeanette. 45.5 for Lally. 45.1 for Riberas. 45.8 for Bleekemolen. Balzan, 45.3 set by some of their teammates. But the cars themselves, that's a really tight pack on a racetrack like this.
Very tight. That 1:45.1 you talked about for Riberas, fast lap of the race thus far. Here, it's sort of a comeback story. The number 540, we saw it way back earlier in the race, and they have just sort of systematically worked their way to the front, kind of what they did at Daytona over 24 hours, and it brought that car right back up now into the top 10, sitting in 7th. And Andy Pilgrim down in underneath and in that car right now. And looking at what's going on in GT Le Mans, looking at the 2 Ferraris, Pierre Guidi is 4th, and Tony Wielander has taken the Racing Competizione Ferrari back up into the 5th spot. And of course, that team directed by a guy with an awful lot of experience in racing, Justin Bell.
Well, Beaky, you were probably here when they repaved it the first time, weren't you?
Yeah, sure. It was a bit rougher then. 1968 was my first Grand Prix here with Team Lotus, with Graham Hill. That's the year we won the World Championship. And that's some good memories, actually. Yeah, especially then in those days in Elmira, it was an all-girls college. And Bill's Bar. Yeah, no, we had some good times here, and it's fantastic. The people around here are wonderful. They remember everybody. I can go downtown and people still remember you. And it's absolutely, in 69 we came back and Mario got pole. his first Grand Prix with Lotus. You know, he's got some really good memories.
It was such a classic track, wasn't it? Of course, what he's saying, Calvin, is that he sees a lot of grandmas walking around who used to be at the girls' college.
Yeah.
But
with a nose like that, mate, everyone's going to recognize him.
a lot of romance. But everyone's going to recognize him. But this track was an epic in North America because it reminded people of home.
Absolutely. It was a European circuit. You know, we come from UK, from Europe, and you come to a European circuit. It was like non-American. And it was, I can't tell you how many memories this place. You know, we was here when Emerson won his first for us in the Lotus 72 and Rainer Wissel was third. It's so many memories. It all comes flooding back when I come back here. It's marvelous.
And of course, let's talk about 2 weeks ago at Le Mans. That was a roller coaster of emotions, but you guys, Risi Competizione, Giuseppe Risi, I don't think he left the pit box for the last 12 hours, and second place on the podium at Le Mans. I mean, that was a vindication of his belief in you and the team, wasn't it?
Oh, it was really unbelievable. The whole team, from the engineers, Rick, Don, and they, you know, and the mechanics, they did a superb job, and you know, they all clicked together perfectly. It's one of those 24 hours where the pit stops, the strategy was just perfect. We had no problems whatsoever, nothing, no mechanical problems, and it was just a wonderful feeling at the end.
Well, listen, I'll let you get back on. I know he's still very much a working man, even though 1968 was the best year for me because it was the one I was born in. But I tell you what, Calvin, you sat down over dinner with Beaky. I mean, talk about knowledge, talk about experience, and of course, he has worked with the biggest names in our sport, and that's really the reason we're all here now.
Yeah, he's a gem. Class guy, loves his racing, great passion. Sounds like he had a bit of fun back in the day as well.
Uh-oh, problems here. This is the number 54 Flexbox machine, Colin Brown, behind the wheel. And I remember that car had some, was it right front suspension issues?
They did when Mark Wilkins was behind the wheel, making a bit of a charge to the front. Suddenly had an issue with the car. And this is down into turn 8, so I'm not sure if he just got down to the inside, got in a little bit hot. Let's take another look at it.
Just kind of catching the finish.
It was a spin, so it wasn't straight in. So not the smoothest of day, not the smoothest of years for this team, Greg. It's really unbelievable. I mean, they were definitely the favorite coming into this championship season, but everything that can go wrong seems to go wrong for these guys, other than that big victory at Sebring, of course.
So getting away with it, doesn't look like huge contact. There is the number 60, John Pugh, bringing the car in, and he will get out. A driver change unfolding. Mark Goossens continues to lead overall here at the Glen. Welcome back. Right before we went to break, we were talking with Beaky Sims about 1968. Well, it was also the year of the first 6 hours of the Glen. Jackie Ickx in that number 5 John Wyer Automotive Ford GT40, along with his co-driver, Lucien Bianchi, brought that car home with a win. Absolutely glorious machines, to be sure, and a close second, the team car, one of the pilots, David Opes, who had a good run there as well. So 68, not just a great year for the Formula One race here at the Glen and Justin Bell's birth, but also it started off this amazing tradition and is allowing us to enjoy racing like this to this day.
Quick pass here. Spencer Piggott has got around. Eric Conan having a really good stint here, but just got moved aside for the 3rd spot right now. And obviously when you get back to that Ford GT, well, they're running 2nd and 3rd right now. Dirk Werner continues to lead on slightly different pit stop cycle to the Fords.
And speaking of different pit stop cycles, you talked about it, that Mark Goossens in that Visit Florida Corvette DP, a little bit off sequence, now into the pits, Cal.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's going to cost him an extra stop over the competition or not, but he's certainly not going to make it on 2 more stops without caution, so the team goes to work. Fresh Continental tires going on. Colin Brown now in pit lane, having suffered that spin a little bit earlier. Got away with one there. They've dodged a few bullets here today.
They have.
Even so, it's not the day they were looking for. Many laps down to the leaders in class.
He looked pretty displeased there in the cockpit, like he almost bopped his head against the headrest a little bit in frustration. As Goossens, I think he stayed on board, didn't he?
believe so. I didn't see a driver change there on the 90. Looked like the tail is now off the 54 car, so some further drama for the Core Autosport PC machine. Continues to sit on pit lane as Goose is back up to speed.
And looking at it here, so Fittipaldi will lead over Piggott, then Curran, then Taylor. And the margin between Curran and Taylor only about a second.
The top 4 all on the same pit stop cycle. Pitted 18 laps ago.
They only separated by 4.5 seconds, that top 4. This
tight.
is close. Ooh.
That's exceeding the track limits a little bit. No advantage, obviously losing some positions there, so just trying to regroup.
That was the 911.
Tough day for the Porsches. Certainly the bar has been moved a little bit with the introduction of the new turbocharged entries in GT Le Mans, as well as the new aero regs. Let's see what happens here. Maybe Christian forced him a little bit wide there. Oh yeah, that was the 911's fault. He just turned in as if Christian wasn't in the same zip code.
And realized it and took evasive and avoided the contact, and then somehow Cal avoided getting into the gravel over there.
Yeah, if you don't want to give it to someone, you wouldn't be that aggressive with your turn in. You'd just sort of gradually blend over to the line to deter them. He just like turned right in and then suddenly saw Christian, I think, right inside him. So I'm pretty sure Nick Tandy was unaware Christian was making the move.
Oh, you talked about the pendulum swing. I mean, remember, this is the team that one of their drivers won the Drivers' Championship last year. The team went
on a tear mid-season on. Just unbeatable, literally. Number 1 overall at Petit Le Mans in the rain. Just incredible year for everyone with the Porsche squad, both on the prototype front in the World Endurance Championship. For Earl Bamber and Nick Tandy, who run here this weekend. They won overall last year in the prototype ranks, so just a brilliant season.
Taking a look here as we're watching the action, our Porsche news and notes, and the biggie is that both Porsche and Ford have announced extensions to their pro racing and factory programs here in North America.
Yeah, this is huge news. Porsche a couple of weeks ago made the announcement, I think it was at Le Mans actually, that they were going to come back next year with a brand new car. It's already been out testing. We saw some spy shots on the internet this week, and they're going to be back in IMSA with the Core Autosport group representing the factory here, as well as Monti Racing over in the World Endurance Championship, having a full factory effort once again, having skipped this year. And for Ford, they've added 2 years to an already 2-year commitment, so they'll be here through 2019 with the intent to go back to Le Mans next year with 4 cars once again. So they are for real. Their commitment to sports car racing is great to see.
It truly is. Boy, are they for real. Just think about what happened at Le Mans. And they are serious about that program as we continue to follow what's going on here in GT Le Mans. In GT Daytona, Matt Bell continues to lead in the Stevenson Motorsports Audi. His co-driver and the guy who ended up qualifying that car second, Lawson Aschenbach, down in the pits with JB.
Hey Lawson, I can see you're about to get ready to go in. The car is running nice and strong. You kept out of problems so far. It's obviously suiting the Audi back to that European style circuit. You must enjoy getting back in it.
Absolutely, yeah. This is a great track, and they did such a fantastic job on the repaving. The Audi Sport rate's been fast all weekend. We've been leading a lot of practice sessions, had a good qualifying run, and running well right now. So Matt's done a great job keeping the car up front, and just looking forward to getting back in.
You see, that's the great thing about this series. He's got to put his helmet on now, but you know it's a good track, Cal, when a driver in the middle of a 6-hour race is excited to get back in.
Yeah, he's fired up. I mean, it's been a quiet start to the year. Certainly the Stevenson group moving over from the Continental Tire Sports Car Championship last year, where they won the title. Took a year's kind of hiatus from GT racing. Found a great partner here with Audi. And they've been fast, but they haven't quite clicked together with the results. But today, certainly for that car, the 9 car, they could be in really good shape here. It would be a big victory for those guys.
Yeah, it's Audi's 1-2 in GT Daytona, so clearly this car and the track working together. Now we're riding on board with Jörg Bergmeister in the Park Place car, but that battle now 2 cars up as the number 60 of Negri slices through. This is the battle for the lead in GT Le Mans. Dirk Werner has it, but the 67 of Briscoe is in full-on attack mode.
Yeah, he is. He's really been laying down some really quick laps. Fastest lap of the race on lap 125, 8 laps ago, a 141.7 Oberlin has the fastest lap in the BMW at 42.0, so certainly the Ford has a few tenths on the BMW. He's got a lot more fuel on board as well, so it's definitely advantage Ford right now, as he's got to be careful here. The 60 cars peeking his nose into the inside. Negri behind the wheel right now of the Shank machine.
I think Negri got the memo there that this is the battle for the lead, and he did not, Briscoe, I mean, want him to come through and cost him any track position here.
Negri should clear at least the Ford and maybe the BMW down into the brake zone here for turn one. It's going to be tight on the BMW though, and that may open up the door for Briscoe to try and have a go. Watch this, Briscoe's going to get a run.
Yes, he is.
So now Werner's going to be in defense mode as they head up through the S's onto that back straightaway.
Briscoe's extra motivated today too, because new baby needs shoes.
That's right.
Needs some prize money.
That's what I tweeted to him. I said, congratulations, now get your butt back here. You got mouths to feed.
Oh, so that is exactly what Werner wanted to have happen. It's the number 70 coming up, giving him a little bit of a buffer, but now Werner's got to figure out, where do I let him by? Nicely done. And a real pro there, 540 at Pilgrim, seeing it happening and open the door up. And how about that new baby? Second daughter. Look at that. Beautiful indeed.
Pretty cool. Blake James Briscoe.
Yeah, nice surprise on the weekend here.
Congratulations to Ryan and Nicole. Extension of the family. Really fun times for those guys.
I guess he drives what, a Ford Expedition or something, so he had to rocket home, and Ford, in a tongue-in-cheek gift, gave him a certificate for a free oil change, because they're pretty sure he abused that motor, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a funny tweet with the picture, sort of wide-eyed. Wow, what's happening today? Oh, look at this battle in the background. Piggott making a move for the lead. He's down on the inside.
See if he made it through. No,
They're
but he's still
fighting
going
it out.
at it.
Look at this. They head up through the S's.
And Fittipaldi able to hang on, but talk about fraught for a moment there. They were side by each for about 3 corners. And finally, Piggott had to give way.
Yeah, that was tight. He's showing tremendous poise and patience. I mean, he's trying to get the car in position, but he realized the car is quick. Do not throw it all away. Christian did not want to give it up. He races hard, that is for sure, but it's getting them team results.
Yeah, we got the 2 overall leaders coming up on the top 2 in GT Le Mans. Let's enjoy this from the 55 vantage point.
A little bit of traffic up ahead for Christian, so he's kind of stymied a little bit. And Spencer times this run perfectly, and he gets to the inside. Christian cannot close the door quick enough. As they get down to the brake zone, look like Spencer's got it, but look how deep Christian takes it in. He's a little bit wide of apex, and they're both trying to accelerate off the corner as they head to the S's. Fantastic racing.
Well, and then Christian just shuts the door, but that's what we've been talking about with the grip of this new surface. You can run 3, 4, 6, 8, 10 feet wide of an apex and still find the grip. As the number 33 in GT Daytona, Bleekemolen in the Viper in from 5th. Hour 46 to go. We'll be back. Welcome back, everybody. Now, how would you like to be able to own a 2016 Corvette Stingray, get a trip to the 2017 Rolex 24, and end up with a Paul Reed Smith IMSA Collector's Edition guitar? Well, every one of you is eligible. All you have to do is enter to win, and you do that at racetowincorvette.com. I'd be there in a big hurry, thanks to Chevrolet. And speaking of Chevrolet, how about the Corvette DP from Action Express Racing in the hands of one Christian Fittipaldi continues to lead, but the pressure from Spencer Piggott in that 55 Mazda Cal has been relentless, and only about a second and a half, call it 2 seconds back. There you see him, the 31 of Eric Kern, having an absolutely superb run in the wheel.
He really is. This has been a tremendous stint for Eric. He's got fired up. I think that little bit of a bump with Jordan Taylor, he suddenly got the bit between his teeth, and he is chasing down the leaders, and this is going to be a shootout at the end of this race. You got the finishers to jump back in yet to get to the checkered flag, and it is going to be sensational. You got Scott Sharp there running in the 5th position, about 16 seconds back. We expect Pippo Durrani to take over the controls of the ESM Patrón machine to try and get them their 3rd endurance victory of the year. This is going to be a barn burner here to finish off. Look at this, Christian Fittipaldi to the inside. Ken Spencer Piggott time this exit. He's got to clear the Porsche as well. Gives him plenty of room.
There are 3 of our 4 classes all together on the track. Multi-class sports car endurance racing. Pretty amazing stuff. Watching from the 912. And Piggott not able to do much because, again, Fittipaldi has just been really solid in traffic, getting around the cars and not leaving too much of an opportunity. Save that one before we went to break the last time. Just to bring you up to date quickly on what's going on in some of the other classes. In GT Le Mans, Dirk Werner continues to lead the 25 BMW over the 67 Ford of Ryan Briscoe and the 68 Ferrari from the Scuderia Corsa Camp in Pierre Guidi. And in GT Daytona, we have the leader that had been out front in that class. Now it is the number 22 WeatherTech Porsche of Gunnar Jeanette leading in GT Daytona. The 63 of Alessandro Balzan as the number 44 Magnus car from the lead into the pits. So the number 22 WeatherTech machine now out front. And in Prototype Challenge, Kenton Cook continues to lead from Performance Tech, but now within a second is the extremely fast number 8 Starworks car, Brenger Van de Zende. As we watch Lally accelerate out. And the Risi Ferrari in the pits as well.
Yeah, that GTLM battle is really going to be first. Dirk Werner continues to lead, but he's going to hit pit lane shortly. Joey Hand is now behind the wheel of the 66. A little bit earlier pit stop for Dirk Mueller than we anticipated. I think it's just a strategy call, feeling they can do it on one more stop to get to the finish. So just shaking things up a little bit with their strategy between the 66 and the 67. Oh, Curran's there really wide. I think he's out in the marbles a little bit. Didn't get the grip, couldn't get back on the gas.
Yeah, he really had to wait to pick that throttle up, didn't he?
Yeah, he really did wait. Really great patience there. This car seemed to have come alive. They've been tweaking on it throughout the course of the first 4.5 hours here, and that's what it's all about in an endurance event. You just got to keep fine-tuning the race car, get the tire pressures right. If you're in GTLM, you may go to a different tire compound, which is available to you in that particular class. Of course, the other 3 classes run on the Continental Spec tires. For the Michelin runners in GTLM, they do have some various compounds they can work through, try and find the best combination to finish the deal.
Into the inner loop. This is pretty impressive stuff. I mean, we're 4 hours and 20 plus minutes into the race, and our leader in GT Le Mans into the pits. Jamie?
And it's a full service stop for the number 25, Dirk Werner out of the car. Oh, well, Dirk is going to stay in the car. Bill Auberland just walking away from it now. 4 new Michelin tires. They're fresh tires, but they're not sticker tires. So they are getting a scrub set. Fuel still being complete. Crew did take the opportunity to pull off and tear off on that windscreen. So fresh windshield ahead as well.
Should be one more stop for those guys to get to the finish. Curious to see if Dirk Werner finishes it off, see how he's feeling, or whether Bill, who does. No, actually, Werner now has the fastest lap now. He just pipped his teammate. He's dipped into the 141 range before that pit stop. So Auberland had the fastest lap in that car. So both drivers capable of getting the job done today. Looking at their pace, very equal in the 25 machine.
That's just not an intra-team rivalry. That's an intra-car rivalry. Those guys are swapping fast laps here.
Well, it can be good. It can really just keep pushing the bar a little bit higher.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you got really competitive guys, you don't want it to be get into animosity in terms of who's quicker than the other. But if it's a healthy rivalry, you continue to push each other to really just keep digging deeper.
Yeah, if the team's right, as we watch the 55 come into the pits from the 4th spot, and Jonathan Bomarito will be climbing on board. And he is oftentimes absolute magic, Cal. This should be a lot of fun to watch.
He is a star for certain, but great job by Spencer Piggott. Jamie?
And Spencer Pickett has handed duties over now to Jonathan Bomarito. Driver change complete, the door was shut, so much quicker for these guys than some of the other P2 cars that we've seen. Fuel and Ford Continentals is a great stop for the number 55 Mazda.
It looked like they went, I didn't catch what Jamie said, it went after a windshield clean as well to give J-Bomb every ounce of visibility he can to see what he can extract for some pace here.
Fittipaldi's got to be in soon. They're really stretching the mileage on this run.
Meanwhile, continuing to do a great job, the number 22.
Got to be careful, Greg, with the leader in terms of staying out, because if there's a yellow pit lane is closed, you might have to do emergency service, which is going to really ruin your chances.
And here watching Gunnar Jeanette continuing to lead now in that WeatherTech Alex Job Racing Porsche, and one of the three drivers, and the driver who gave it a good run in the early going, Cooper McNeil with Justin Bell.
I just realized, it's not the first time I've said this, but my cable isn't long enough to read. Cooper, obviously we come here, you love this track, you've always been quick here, but Le Mans was so disappointing to you and your fans. What happened in the end? You just didn't feel well?
Yeah, I had a bacterial infection, foodborne illness from something I ate over there. I had 102-degree fever that started the night before the race and continued all the way through 24 or 48 hours after the race had already finished. So it was a huge disappointment, but we're going to be coming back there next year stronger than ever.
I mean, of course you are. That is an experience. I know the whole family, it was a pretty cool thing to see you there. But this track, this race, the car's fast. You must be very happy with the way this whole team has gelled and the car's running so quick here.
Yeah, absolutely. The Alex Job guys are second to none. They always set the benchmark for everybody, so we're doing well. The car's running really good. Gunner's out there doing really well, and Lee's going to finish to the end, and hopefully we end up on the podium.
Cool. Thanks, Cooper. No, this is a guy that loves his racing. So does his father, and of course their contribution to our sport is very noticeable, guys.
Yeah, it's huge as well, and we truly appreciate that immensely. And I'll tell you what, teaming up with Alex Job, I mean, you know, Cooper says they set the benchmark. You take a look at what Alex Job Racing in Porsches in particular has achieved over the years. It's absolutely monumental. And it's a good program. Into the pits, the second of the BMWs, the 100. John Edwards is in, and a very busy Jamie Howe is there.
It was a great stop for the number 100 crew. John Edwards did stay behind the wheel. He did take on 4 new Michelin tires and a fuel load, so it was a great quick stop for these guys.
Yeah, they're fighting back. They had that
Current
pit stop early.
And Curran's in as well.
Yeah, Curran from the lead now pits the prototypes.
Having a look here, again, GT Daytona leader, Gunnar Jeanette there is Whelan in the pits, the Whelan car, and Curran is out. Dane Cameron, no doubt, on board. Justin?
Yeah, they came down the pit lane. It was nice and clear for them as they pulled in. I do believe they had a driver change. I was walking up here, running up here at the time, but obviously fuel was remaining. I love the way these guys exit the pit lane as the number 63 Scuderia Corsa comes by into their spot as well.
And we saw behind all of that the number 2 in. And there is Fittipaldi.
This is the position right there.
Right
Dane
there.
Cameron's got to get those Continental tires up to temperature. He's going to have to defend, I think, on the run to the inner loop. Barbosa has a run. This is a position that the two team cars have been in many times over the last couple of seasons. If he can just hang on here, Barbosa realizes he's got to pounce now. He's got to try and force his way by. He's going to go the long way around. He's going to look to the inside. Cameron sees it coming. He defends the inside. Barbosa.
Just in a little too hot, Cal.
We talked about the keys to the race. Get creative. We knew with it all on the line, these guys would be finding new ways to make passes, but Dane Cameron realized he's got to hang on. He's just got to try and keep that track position so those Continental tires come into their sweet spot and he can get some pace.
Number 10, Jordan Taylor in as well. Again, Barbosa looking to the outside down an 8.
Yellow flag waves. That really saved Dane Cameron a little bit. The 90 has turned it around. Barbosa there putting his nose in there. I'm not sure if they'd actually cleared that yellow zone, Greg, and got to another green flag station. That would have been a problem, I think, if he'd made the move.
I think you're absolutely right. Just trying to see. It doesn't look like there's damage, at least that we can see, to the number 90.
And this is where you got to be careful when you roll the dice. When you're in a window where you can do it on just one more start from that point forward, you need to come, because if there was a yellow like this, pit lane be closed, that can really kill your whole day. So I was surprised there with the 5 that they were stretching their mileage just so far. Oh, he's wide in 8 and then just tries to keep in it. Don't see anyone else in the picture. This will be frustration for that group. Remember what happened to them at Detroit.
Oh, and he couldn't get the back end to rotate.
He just saw the cars come and realized that was going to be for position. Then you see Barbosa from a yellow zone looking to the inside. Maybe he realized and thought better of it, Greg.
Yep, I think exactly. And the problem is that Goossens cannot find reverse right now. As we saw him, I mean, the car's rolling. It rolled its way gently toward that guardrail. He just can't find reverse. And you know, race control is going to give him every opportunity to try and do that and keep this green. But at a certain point, and confirmation, Taylor, Ricky this time, now behind the wheel of the number 10.
Ricky Taylor has taken over the wheel of the number 10. Let's take another look from on board with the 90 car coming down into turn 8. Heavy brake zone. I think Goossens was just really pushing super hard here to try and wring every ounce that he could out of this stint. He's by himself, just gets in there too deep, loses the rear end initially, releases the brakes, and he gets out there, doesn't have the grip. He's going to see traffic coming. He's going to try and get it spun around. He's got hot tires. He can't get the rotation.
So he still sits. And finally, race control has to call a full course caution. The number 67 in before that happened. Timing is everything. We'll be back. Major League Soccer Sunday, sponsored by Audi, returns tonight as Dom Dwyer and Sporting KC take on Will Trapp and the Columbus Crew. It's all tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern, only on FS1, or watch it live on Fox Sports Go. Kind of interesting, our little bump back there, Cal, focused on the curbs. And they have potentially played a role in this race.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. This is going to be a great finish to this race. I am pumped up.
Wish you could have seen it, folks. As Cal's saying that, he's rubbing his hands together with glee. And I am with you, my friend.
We got Cameron and Barbosa, the 2 Action Express teammates. Well, we call them teammates, but they both want to win really badly. Cameron and Curran trying to come from a 4-point deficit in the championship behind Barbosa, Fittipaldi, and the Taylor brothers, who tied for the lead coming into this weekend. You got Jonathan Barmarito, very quick car. 55 machine sits in the 3rd position. Durrani's now behind the wheel of the 2. Ricky Taylor's been tough today. This is going to be fantastic.
Oh boy, just a complete reset at this point. The number 90 has been moved. What is happening here? The number 90 has been cleared, taken care of, but something. You're on board with him here. Just everybody stacked up and stopped.
Yeah, this can really, I don't know what's creating this situation, but if you've got some kind of issue with your race car, some kind of clutch issue, that's the last thing you want to do, is be able to come to a standstill out on the racetrack.
This is the 3rd caution, by the way, and the pits are open for, well, that's what it was. The Delta Wing came to a stop. It's under full course caution, so everybody had to be very careful about making the pass, because you can't pass under a caution. Eventually, when that car was obvious had an issue, everybody had to go by. While we're watching that, Catherine Legg on board in Prototype Challenge. Renger van de Zende and the number 8 Starworks car has gone to the lead. 38 Cal Marcelli. As Catherine gets the car restarted, looked like they just did an electrical reset, Cal.
Saw the sign on the side of the car saying speedy recovery, Katie. Exactly. Katie Crawford, our thoughts are still with you, love. We know you're at a test recently with the team at Road Atlanta. We'd love to see you back on pit lane in the near future.
Absolutely. Now let's take a look just real quick. GT Le Mans, that 67. Boy, that stop was huge. And they lead it now. Richard Westbrook with the 25 of Dirk Werner. The BMW has really been sort of the car, but now Westbrook on point here. Of course, that was the pole sitter, Daniel Serra. Again, number 68 Scuderia Corsa Ferrari, then the 62 Risi Ferrari of Wielander, the 100 BMW of Edwards. In GT Daytona, it's the number 9 Stevenson Motorsports Audi, Lawson Aschenbach at the helm now, 23 Riberas and the Team Seattle Porsche, and number 44 Lally in the Audi in third, with Keen and Balzan 22 and 63 respectively.
I like this what Shank's doing.
Yeah.
He's giving up the track position, getting topped up with fuel. Give them a bit of an advantage. Certainly a great call for the 67 car. Mike Carl, the master strategist on the pit box for the 67 car. Got that car ducked into the pit lane before we went full caution.
Negri stops. Strategy at work here as we're closing in. Under an hour and a half to go. Welcome back, everybody. An hour and 20 minutes remaining here in this Sahlen 6 hours of the Glen. Here's our Continental Tire race recap. Current class leaders there. You can see Cameron in Prototype, Bender's Ende in Prototype Challenge, Westbrook in GT Le Mans, Aschenbach in GT Daytona. Third caution, we're under here so far for 10 laps total. Lead changes, we've had 16 different leaders as it has rotated through, or at least changes in the lead, and only 2 cars out. And a car that has been an absolute player in GT Daytona, Justin, is in.
Absolutely, they come into the pit lane to switch over, driver change. 23 comes in very tidily, and right behind me, the 912 comes in, Earl Bamber doing a change into that one. These cars also strong in the Porsche's pits here, obviously not quite having the pace in the GTLM class.
A little bit of a hang up there on the 23 machine. They waited to see if Aschenbach was going to stay out. He did, and everyone else kind of ducked in. So Aschenbach's going to be looking in the mirror saying, uh-oh, I'm in trouble now. Everyone else is topped up with fuel. I think everyone will still be on one more stop to the finish, but those Porsches will be a much shorter fill on their final stop.
Yeah, we saw the 22 in. Lee Keen has taken over.
He leapt around the 23 car, so there's a slight delay there. Lee Farnbacher may have jumped back in to that car. We'll wait for timing and scoring to cycle here before we can confirm that.
Boy, and I'll tell you, you just look at GT Le Mans right now, and one of the things I was looking at was how many cars in each class remain on the same lap as we expect green this time by. And in GT Le Mans, 9 cars on the same lap, but the last 4 positions, 2 Corvettes, 2 Porsches. Just a huge swing here, particularly for the number 4 Corvette that won the opening 2 rounds of the championship. In GT Daytona, you look back, the top 7 cars are all on the same lap. Prototype Challenge, the top 4. And in Prototype, for the overall battle, the top 6 all on the lead lap. And that number 60 stop, they put the Ligier specialist on board, Olivier Pla. So all the guns
there, everyone's loaded
ready
now.
to go now.
And everyone's should be able to do it in all of the classes. I don't think anyone's out on an island in terms of strategy. I believe that pretty much everyone out there in all 4 classes will need one more stop to get it to the finish. Some have got a little bit more fuel on board than the others, so it'll be a shorter fill potentially for those guys.
And you talked about it, the Porsches in GT Daytona, the 60, Shank Racing Ligier, ducking in, topping off, and we see the lights out on the Chevrolet Corvette safety car, so we are going to be going back to green this time by, led by the 31 Whelen Team Fox Corvette DP of Dane Cameron.
When will he go?
Yeah, he's certainly letting that vet go.
Yeah.
That pace car get well out of its way.
There he goes. Needs a good restart here. He needs to get into a groove, get the tire temp there, try and fend off his teammate Joao Barbosa. Then we've got to focus on those P2 cars that are right in the picture as well. Durrani down at the inside of Ricky Taylor. That is for position. And early move by Durrani.
And Bomarito there, his teammate, the number 70, opening the door and letting Jonathan through. That car down a lap, the number 70 is right now.
Durrani obviously got a brilliant restart, because you would expect Ricky Taylor, he's been so sensational this year on cold tires, on starts and restarts. Durrani there looks to the inside. He needs to try and clear that 70 machine. He cannot afford to get stymied here, but still a long time on the clock.
That 70 now has Tom Long behind the wheel. And I don't think he's going to do anything egregious, but he doesn't want to just move out of the way, considering it's his teammate up front that Durrani would be next after. And if he can just stay in front of him on pace, just the weight could create issues for Durrani. Oh, yeah, look at this stack up.
Look at this stack up. Everyone fighting it out. John Edwards there in the BMW looks to the outside of the Ferrari. Can he make it stick around the outside? Now it's going to make acceleration run towards turn 8. See the 90 car in the mix trying to recover, rebound from the problem for the Goose.
Edwards still on that outside edge. And now he's going to try the outside.
It's on the Reese car, he doesn't get grip. Joey Hand's trying to follow him through as everyone runs wide there. Everyone trying to tiptoe through this traffic. It is crazy times there with 4 classes all mixed together.
Fraught stuff working through turn 10.
You can take huge advantage in these type of situations, but it can also go wrong in a heartbeat. And you're just kicking yourself. Corvette's getting a run on Joey Hand there. Milner and Garcia.
3 abreast. It's the 38.
That was so close to contact. Wow, Balzan really had to take evasive action there. Now Edwards slides it to the inside.
And the number 62 of Vielander just shut the door on that 38 prototype challenge car. He's not happy with that moment down in there. Now he'll let him go. Look at Flock.
Yeah, I mean, he got topped up with fuel, so the strategy is good in terms of you got more fuel on board, but does that then turn into a negative if you can't clear the traffic? Wow, he had to recover there. He's off in the weeds. Nearly ran into the back of the Ferrari. Cost him a ton of time.
So close.
He was going to hit him. He just had to release the brakes and get off to the side of the road. And he has just run right in the melting pot here with all of it. Oh, now he doesn't have grip. Being off in the grass, he doesn't have clean tires. He is scrambling.
He's trying any way he can to get through, knowing that group up front is just checking out.
This is a critical time in this race. I'm sure Mike Shanker's on the pit box just biting his nails, just hoping that his man can get through.
Watch the 60 right there turning in.
Watch this. He comes up on that PC car. Look at Ply. He looks to the inside. Has to brake, loses control a little bit. He made the right move, but let's take a look from the onboard. See, he was on the gas, then he just ran up on the Ferrari and all got ugly. He's on the gas, hit the brake, was going to hit him, released the brake, had to avoid him.
I think Vielander dipped the brake at a time that completely surprised him because he got hung up behind that 38 prototype challenge car.
Battle right there for position in GTD. Balzan and Aschenbach.
Yeah, and the 100 there, Edwards and Hand duking it out for 5th in GT Le Mans.
Yeah, Joey's been real patient here through traffic. Seems like that car has come alive a little bit. Very similar lap times to the sister car. Just a 10th off fastest lap of the day for the 66 machine.
Aschenbach does lead, but you said it, the number 63 Scuderia Corsa Ferrari of Alessandro Balzan has gone around Lally and has run him down. Lally's dropped back a bit,
Lally's dropped quite a few positions, so he's certainly been hurt by this traffic situation. Aschenbach done a nice job, but let's not forget, he has less fuel on board than the others.
Oh, look at this needle thread by Pla right between those two GTD cars and Balzan. No. Does he get to the inside? He does.
Certainly that Mazda has been very much in the mix today. The 55 car, Bomarito sitting in the 3rd spot, but it was one of his teammates who put in a stunning middle stint there, Jamie. What does he have to say?
Well, it was a stunning stint, Calvin, especially when you consider that for Spencer Pickett. Spencer, this is only your 3rd race behind the wheel of this car. How does today compare to Daytona and Sebring?
Yeah, it's quite a bit different. Obviously, the track is totally different to Sebring and Daytona. It's a lot of fun. It's my first time here. I'm really enjoying racing at Watkins Glen, and the Mazda prototype has just been a blast to drive. It's been incredibly strong all weekend. So I'm just enjoying it, racing against so many different cars and classes. There's always something going on. So it's a lot of excitement in the car, but now just kind of try to relax and watch Jonathan take it home.
As somebody new to endurance racing, this is the 6 hour, so it's shorter than the others. What are the characteristics of this race for you as the driver?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit more of an all-out sprint race. You can't really lose much track position, or you can't go down the lap because there's really not much time to make it up. So, the mentality, I think, is push a little bit harder, maybe a little bit more aggressive than you would maybe at Daytona. So, just try and keep the car clean, which we've done a good job, but, can't thank Mazda enough for the chance to be here.
2 cars stopped out on the course right now. One more question for you, though. What are your plans for the rest of the season?
Well, I'll be, doing the rest of the season in IndyCar and the road and street courses for Ed Carpenter Racing, which I'm very excited about, and hopefully be back here driving the Mazda prototype at Petit Le Mans.
All right, sounds good. Great job today.
Indeed. Thanks very much, Jamie. The number 2 off Durrani, a big plume of smoke erupting from the back of that car. You can see some fluid underneath it, Cal.
Well, that remarkable run may be over. Going for their 3rd straight endurance victory of the season. Obviously some kind of terminal issue there for Pipo Durrani as he was just on the march up into the top 5. Had a very fast race car, but this will hurt.
Yeah, and want to clarify something. We were talking about that Balzan maybe had gone around Lally. We were watching that battle. That was actually the 68 GT Le Mans Scuderia Corsa Ferrari that was battling for 3rd in GT Le Mans with Tony Vilander. So it was a great battle nonetheless. That's a sad sight. Pipo Durrani absolutely crushed. A potential remarkable streak has come to an end. Pipo Durrani, as we went to break, you saw this moment, absolutely shattered at the prospect that he won't be able to do it based on the pace we saw from him earlier. Cal, you knew that he probably figured he had a shot, and there you see him just sort of gently caressing that car. And watch here, you're going to see he walks around behind it, and it's almost like he gives a look at the car right here as if to say, thank you, I love what you've done for me.
Well, there's the disappointment of the result, or potential result going away, and also you can't have that battle. That was going to be a fun last stint for him, and he was probably licking his chops looking forward to it.
Yeah, like he said, the way he races, and what he extracts out of those cars, it was going to be special. This, because it happened within 15 minutes of the previous caution, is a short yellow. Pits are closed, so they're trying to get us back to green this time. It looks like they've got that car up on that tilt bed, and there's a long way to go before the field gets around, so we might just be able to make it to green this time to go, Cal, at, I don't know, around 1:05 yet to go. But quickly, let's hear from team principal Scott Sharp.
Well, Greg, the team says mechanical failure. Scott, what were the early indications that Pipo had?
I don't think there were any. All of a sudden, it just let go. So, we'd had the power steering issue, but those were completely 2 different things. And we got real fortunate with the yellow being able to change out the electronics. Really, it wasn't so much a mechanical. It felt like a mechanical and would stop turning, but literally, I guess it was all electronics. So once we changed out the box, it was fine. And, went all the way to the back, but we were able to bounce back, got a lucky yellow there at the end, which brought people close, and we were like, okay, time to go, but I guess it's not going to happen.
I know you were standing back here. There's countless numbers of screens that these engineers are looking at. Did they see anything on the telemetry before this happened?
I'm told no. No, there was no indication. The field got a couple guys after that restart, and all of a sudden.
All right, end of the day. Thank you.
Well, they've still got some points. I mean, they led at that halfway mark, so they maximize the points there. They'll get a couple of points. There's 5 for leading at the halfway mark or at the end of the day. So they'll get 2 for the end of the day and 5 for the halfway mark. So they'll still be in with a shout. A lot will depend on what the 5 car does here at the finish.
And you heard him say, on to Petit, they will be back. Meanwhile, we go back to green, and Dane Cameron changing it up where he decided to roll into the throttle, being unpredictable.
That's what it's all about. Do the same thing, otherwise the guys are going to go with you. And I think his savior may be the fact that Bomarito is going to put the pressure on Joao Barbosa, you would believe, here in these next few laps. So Barbosa's focus may be behind him rather than Dane in front of him.
And once again, Ricky Taylor not able to get around Tom Long down a lap in the number 70 Mazda, which works nicely for Mr. Bomarito. Here's the GT Le Mans scrap.
Westbrook.
Yeah, he's already opened up a bit of a
He and Briscoe
margin.
going for 2 in a row. And he said, yeah, it was a great run at Le Mans. He wasn't disappointed. He was just really pumped for the whole squad, the Ganassi team and Ford winning on their return to Le Mans. But he said, now we've got to go after that championship. Hasn't been the best start to the year, but we're third in points. We can do something from there. And they can go on a bit of a charge here and get some victories. They're going to be right in the thick of it. The Corvette boys struggling a little bit here today.
And there is Westbrook just going out of the bottom of your frame. We hop on board with the team car, which sits a few spots back, sitting in the 6th position.
Second gear through here, about 75 miles an hour on this Ford GT. Then the acceleration run up to 5th gear, about 145 miles an hour just before Joey Hand hits the brakes. 75 miles an hour minimum speed is really quick there with that repaving.
And Bomarito not yet able to do much with Barbosa.
Not totally unexpected in terms of that P2 machine, a lot lighter, just taking a bit more time to get the tire temp back, maybe get the tires cleaned off.
Sweeping up through the S's.
Surprised that Taylor didn't have a little bit more on these restarts. He's been so dynamite this year and just being right on the boil. Both times came across the stripe a little bit behind.
They have something that's just not quite there on that car at this stage. Watching the Mazdas work through in GT Daytona right now. Lawson Aschenbach continues to lead in the Audi over the similar Audi. Different team, of course. Magnus in the number 44 is Andy Lally, sits second. And third, it's Alessandro Valzan in the Scuderia Corsa Ferrari. And, of course, that is a huge scenario for the points championship, going for a 4th straight podium. And Brian Till, you've got a couple of the key players down there. One of them who was pretty lucky, not lucky, good at Le Mans recently.
Absolutely. You know, this entire team's so strong. Christina and Alessandro leading in the championship, and Jeff Siegel is the hired gun this weekend. But Christina, I'm going to talk to you first. You guys in the championship lead, but you just came back from Le Mans. Which one makes you happier, leading the championship or getting a chance to run at Le Mans?
You know, I think all race drivers are running on these adrenaline kicks, and I think that's where they're all qualified. Le Mans is a very long adrenaline kick. You're working for 24 hours here. This is amazing. Like, I love racing in America, and to be leading this championship after the year we had last year where we came so close. There's still a long way to go, but I'm crossing my fingers. We're going in that direction the rest of the season.
And we talk about how strong this team is. Jeff, you were with this team, not with Christina, but with this team at Le Mans. Townsend Bell and Bill Sweedler, you walk away with a victory. That's a check mark on a bucket list, is it not?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, initially the season was looking a little bit disappointing, only having a handful of races, but doing Daytona with the old car, and we got out okay with some good points for them. Going to Sebring, getting a race win, going next race in Le Mans, race win, and now coming here and having a really strong run. Kind of hard to ask for much more than that. So Scuderia Corsa is doing a tremendous job on all continents. It's really just a pleasure to be here with Christina and Alessandro and this fantastic team and our fantastic Ferrari.
Yeah, they're doing a great job, not only on all continents, but in both classes today, both the GTLM class and the GTD class. The cars run in the top 3.
I'll tell you, Christina Nielsen is really developing into a great up-and-coming star. I mean, finished second in the GTD Points Championship last year, leading it now. And that team well-placed with a top 3 right now as we head into our final hour.
Oh, she can be relied on to get the job done, whether it's qualifying, an opening stint, not putting a foot wrong. She has been super impressive with her progress over the last couple of years. And, you know, it's not just the novelty of having a really strong female driver. She is for real. She will chase you hard for the lead of the race. She is not intimidated and doesn't make mistakes.
And she's just a strong driver, period. As, having a look here, riding on board the 912 as it comes up and goes around the class leader in GT Daytona, Lawson Aschenbach, in the number 9 Stevenson Motorsports Audi. And Jamie, you got the guy who kind of oversees that whole program with you.
Well, Greg, you went through the running order, the top of the GTD field. The 9 car was the first of those cars to make their most recent pit stop, some 13 laps before the number 22 machine, who we saw put under that caution. In terms of strategy, Mike, I know it was discussed up here. Why did you not take that full course caution option to fill it up?
Well, we had such good track position, and they were so far back in the line, we didn't want to go back. Obviously, if I'd have known they were all coming in, we probably would have done the same thing. But it seems like half the cars came in, half the cars didn't, and we need to run a little bit longer on fuel than probably these others because of our tire problem. For whatever reason, we've had, I think, 4 or 5 left rear failures so far today. So, you know, no matter what happens, we got to still have a very fast car. We got a very fast driver, and yeah, I mean, we're not in the best spot that I wish we were right now, but it's definitely not over yet. Still got nowhere to go.
So getting into the closing stages of this race, how do you adjust then to the competition having more fuel on board? How do you make up for that?
Well, right now we're going as fast as we can. We have the lead, try to get a big enough gap. We've had really good pit stops. I think we keep beating everybody out, so we'll use that to our advantage. And as I say, I mean, if we can get about a 5 to 8 second gap, it'll be close. You know, and Lawson's first out lap on these last set of tires was amazing. And, you know, we've got a very good car, so hopefully we can still get it done.
It's going to get interesting. Thanks, Mike.
It is interesting because those 3 cars you see on screen, that's 1, 2, 3 in GT Daytona.
Yeah, and they're on a slightly different strategy, as Jamie was alluding to. Lawson was the first of the leaders to pit on lap 129. We're now on lap 153. Lally lap 133. Siegel, Balzan, lap 137. Everyone else 142. So everyone needs one more stop. It's just that these 3 will need a lot more fuel going on board, which will delay them a little bit further once they hit pit lane.
Not much between these 3 right now, however. Covered in total by 1.5 seconds last time by start finish.
We talk about the BOP adjustments since the last round of the championship. Those Audis got a slightly bigger restrictor. That's going to make them a little bit thirstier. They're developing more power. So that means they will not get the same fuel mileage that they got previously.
Well, and clearly liking that little bit of an adjustment and a track that suits the cars, and they have parlayed it into a 1-2 Audi has with Ferrari chasing. You ride on board with Jonathan Bomarito, 3rd overall, 3rd in prototype here at the Sahlen 6 hours of the Glen. He sits right now about a second behind Joao Barbosa, and you get a glimpse of just how dirty those windshields can get here. You're running through trees and bugs and campfires, as well as debris thrown up off the track. Barbosa and Cameron, 1-2 up front. GT cars are covering pit lane right now, Cal.
Yeah, they're all in their fuel window, so everyone is making that play, and I think those dominoes will start to fall. You can't afford to let these guys pit and not follow suit. The 66, I believe. Yeah, the 66. And the Risi car, just like Le Mans.
Here we go.
67 car continues to lead, though, Greg. Westbrook just laid down the fastest lap of the race at a 141.5, trying to stretch that margin over Dirk Werner.
That is brutally quick, isn't it?
Now, for these guys, what would be real handy is a yellow, because then the pit lane would be closed. Yeah. But I think you're going to see a lot of teams have to follow suit. Once someone's laid this marker down, you are really rolling the dice if you don't follow suit. However, it does mean you're doing a lengthy stint on those tires, as Mark Johnson alluded to. We understand a lot of the GTD teams are bumping up their pressures to deal with this issue with the curbing in the inner loop. But again, at the end of the race, they're going to want to be more aggressive. You can cut the curbs, you can cut lap time, and that's what you're looking for when you're going for the win.
Especially when you've got battles this close. And just to put that lap time, by the way, by Westbrook into perspective, a 41.5 pole time and that new record of 41.3.
Yeah, I mean, the old lap record was a 44.0 by Andy Prio in the BMW a couple of years ago. So that shows the pace of this racetrack and the new grip that they're finding.
And the number 63 Scuderia, oh, the 68 Scuderia machine is in. Brian?
Fuel only on this car, Greg, so they think the Michelins are going to be good to go to the end. This should be their final stop. Waiting, waiting, waiting. It's going to seem like forever, and finally the fuel probe is pulled. He's away in the 63 and right behind being shown first in GTD because the other cars had made their stop. Alessandro Balzan behind the wheel. He'll stay behind the wheel till the checkered flag. Tear-off coming off, and they too will double stint the tires. Continentals will stay on this Ferrari, and they'll get back underway as soon as they have a full load of fuel.
Jamie?
The number 9 machine on pit road as well. It was fuel and 4 new Continental tires, just as Mike Johnson said. They were going to need to wait and get those tires on. The 33 was in as well. They made their last pit stop, and it was fuel only for them. Clean stop for Stevenson.
They're going to have a sharper weapon here at the finish, but they may have lost a better track position by taking those 4 tires.
Yeah, and interestingly, once again, we're seeing Riley Motorsports playing the strategy card incredibly well.
Look at this battle here, Westbrook and Werner. Who's going to blink first in terms of following suit with some of the other GTLM cars that have already made their final pit stop for the day?
And this is that risk versus reward you've been talking about, isn't it?
It is. If you get a yellow, you are going to really be in a big hole.
Unbelievably, we're hearing that there is a low rev misfire on the number 55 Mazda. And apparently, I mean, there's a solution to that, isn't it? You just have to maybe run a lower gear, etc., as the Corvettes are in. Brian?
All the strategy has been played. This is it. Final pit stop for the Corvette team. 4 came in just ahead of the 3, and that's the way they'll leave pit lane on this last stop.
Wow, that was a quickie.
Yeah.
The car left before the guy waved him. That's
that
efficient right there.
Boy.
They realize they've got a tough task ahead of them right now, so they're still executing every step of the way in terms of the pit lane and the crew doing their job. Drivers have done their job on the racetrack. But obviously the Corvette does not have the pace today of the Ford or the BMW. Westbrook continues to lead.
It looked to me like the Corvettes have gone out and managed to get in front of Sarah and Hand in the 68 66. Here comes Werner.
Yeah, they just couldn't roll the dice much further.
But Westbrook doesn't.
This means the longer Westbrook runs, okay, if they don't get a yellow, he'll have fresher tires at the end. He'll also have more fuel to burn if they top him all the way up. So he can be in full attack mode, but it is still a big gamble that Mike Hull is playing right now.
And Jamie, driver change too.
Driver change as well. Bill Oberlin getting behind the wheel of this BMW. 4 new Michelin tires as well. I just walked up and checked in with Reese. They made their last pit stop just a moment ago. They took 4 new tires as well. So we're getting similar equipment going back out onto the racetrack. Great pit stop. They waited on the door to close, so time fuel for the number 25.
Well, that door did secure because it kind of bounced when Werner slammed it shut. May have just been the flex in the door that I was seeing.
It's interesting because, I don't know, it looked to me like the fuel was done before that door got shut and was dropped by a bit, not a lot.
Yeah, it really puts the pressure on that driver change when you're doing that under green flag conditions, particularly if it's not a full fuel load, which I don't think it was because they just wanted to pit to not get caught out by a potential yellow. See the intensity, though, by Bill Oberlin, just the way he ran out to the car. 0 to 15 is pretty good.
Meanwhile, Westbrook, there you see it, 19 laps since the last stop.
And that means there's only going to be, as he hits pit lane. So that pit stop was really short in terms of the refueling. So it puts the pressure, I think Westy will stay in certainly, but it puts the pressure on the tire change if they go with 4 tires as well, which you would expect. Can't afford for anything to go wrong. Westbrook has been sensational here this weekend. Brilliant pole position. The middle sector he was running yesterday was unbelievable. He grabbed the pole, looking for 2 wins in a row. Brian?
Load of fuel and tires going on this Ford GT, and you said it, he's just been phenomenal. He's looking for 3 wins in a row here. Won the last 2 years in prototype, looking for a GTLM win. And it was a timed fuel stop, and I find that odd because the tires are still going on. Why not put in extra fuel just to be sure? But they tapped the fueler on the shoulder. He pulled out, and now the tires are on, and he's down, but that actually seemed to take a little bit too long.
We'll have to wait and see how he cycles out. Here comes Werner on the front straightaway. It's going to be tight. I think Westy should just keep the lead, but he's going to be on relatively cold tires. Werner's got a lap on his, but he's got traffic to get around as well. So that was a really good in-lap by Westbrook, which may make up for the little delay on pit lane.
And Daniel Serra in that Scuderia Corsa GT Le Mans Ferrari right behind Bill Oberlin now as they whistle up through the S's. We have 45 minutes remaining. Don't go anywhere. You ride on board with Olivier Pla, the number 60 Mike Shank Racing Ligier Honda, as we come back to the Sahlen 6 hours of the Glen, coming into the final 42 minutes in just a handful of seconds. And Calvin, this onboard ride is a very fast one. Why? Well, the previous lap, he just ran a lap 7/10 underneath the qualifying track record. Unbelievable.
Oh, it's incredible. He's over a second faster than the guys he's chasing down. He's only got a 7-second deficit right now. You're looking at a master at work. He got stymied with that traffic, had that off in the inner loop. He is rebounding nicely. He is the fastest car on the racetrack, so he tries to chase down these three. Who's going to blink first? Everyone's within their fuel window now to make a stop and get it to the checkered flag. The big question is, if you make that fuel stop, Greg, you may come out in the middle of traffic. It's going to cost you a lot of time. So whilst these guys got clear road ahead, they're going to keep going until someone blinks and makes that first pit stop, and then you have to cover it.
Well, and that literally gets back to when I often describe this multi-class sports car racing as high-speed chess, because you're looking that many moves ahead. Where do we pit? Where do we come out in traffic? It's not going to work. Wait or extend it. It's unbelievable what these strategists are dealing with.
Oh, absolutely, because if you cut, we've seen these big packs of cars here today. If you come out behind one of those, you can suddenly lose 8 to 10 seconds. As Cameron being really aggressive now, trying to thread his way through traffic. He realized his teammate is right behind him. Goes to the outside of the WeatherTech entry, looking for grip. Getting creative, as we called it. Key to victory here today, but watch your limits.
Watch your limits in Bomarito. Well, he would have loved to have been able to get around the WeatherTech portion. Now he'll be able to do it. Didn't lose too much. And that little issue they're dealing with, that low rev miss, he seems to have found a workaround because he's not exactly losing a ton of ground.
No, he isn't. He's got great pace, but it's a question of what might have been if that car was running at 100%. Maybe he's been able to adjust something in the car, try and get that back on full song.
In GT Le Mans, Westbrook leads by 1.4 over Oberlin in the BMW, and then another 3.5 seconds back to Daniel Serra in the Scuderia Corsa GT Le Mans Ferrari number 68. Then they've got 4 seconds in hand back to the best place, to the Corvettes. Good run, nonetheless, for Tommy Milner.
Here comes Cameron. Cameron's in pit lane. The Mazda comes too. Barbosa stays out. What sort of hot lap can he run down right now? But he's got traffic up ahead. Could be the critical factor here is how cleanly he can get through those GTD cars while the other two hit pit lane. What does Pla do? What does Mike Shank do? Now it's down to the crews. They have to execute here. Brian.
This is the one that has to be absolutely perfect. Left side tires going on. Will they take right? Fuel going in. Crew runs to the right side. Yes, it'll be 4 Continental tires and a load of fuel, and they'll get Dane Cameron back on track. But what kind of a lap time right now is the 5 car doing? This is when you've got to get it done, and this outlap is going to be critical.
The 55 is still on pit road. There was a fuel issue. They had to plug back into the car. They did take 4 new Continental tires as well, but the car that beat them out of pit lane was the 60 for Michael Shank Racing. It was fuel only for Olivier Pla.
Wow.
There's
Bomarito's got some work to do now. Pla is out there. He's gained that position. He's got Dane Cameron right ahead of him. The question mark is now, what does Barbosa do? If he's got clear track, they may keep him out there and roll the dice a little bit. Just on those hot tires, if he can crank out another really quick lap, that could give him enough of a buffer to get down pit lane and stay out in front. Or will they make the call? Ian Watt will have a hard decision to make. Does he bring Barbosa in this lap? He'll be looking up. There it is.
Boy, Talk about crucial. You heard Brian say it. This is the one that has to be absolutely perfect. Well, it's go time for the number 5 as well. Brian, heading at you.
What does the Mustang sampling crew have in hand? How quickly can they do this stop? How perfect can they be? They're setting up for tires and fuel as well. Left side tires going on. They're out of the way. Crew running to the right side. Just a little bit of slip on the left rear changer, but not much. They'll get the tires done before the fuel goes in. Tires going on. One more nut in the back. Fuel is down.
It's a nice stop. Now look to the right here. Can we see it? There he is. There's Dane.
Barbosa's going to get him.
He's got it.
He's going to get him. Dane's got hot tires though. I think Cameron must have got some traffic on the outlap. That was a critical factor. Barbosa's now up to speed as he runs up the hill. Big delta there. I expected it to be much closer than this, so Cameron must have seen traffic that we did not see on camera right now on the outlap.
Maybe of greater concern for those 2 Corvette DPs up front is that car in third. The number 60, Ligier Honda, in the hands of Olivier Plot. We heard the report, did not take tires, just fuel. I guess when you're for Mike Shank in the last stints of the race, your strategy is an easy one.
Let's see how much ground Dane can make up on the hot tires. Barbosa's going to push it as much as he can. The extra grip will help here. But he doesn't have tire time just yet. And look at that, Pla is coming. Pla is coming hard. However, not taking tires, how much of a factor will that be as the clock winds down?
That was only a couple of laps before the pit stop when he uncorked that 34.5. So the tires seem to be running fairly well. Jamie, what else are you hearing on the Mike Shank car?
Well, it was a late call to pit lane for Olivier Pla, and when he was on his way in, they were telling him it were going to be left side tires and fuel. By the time he got to the box, the team had changed their mind again, and it was going to be no tires, fuel only. I just talked to Mike Shank, who's busy on the radio right now, but he said they decided not to do tires because the car takes so long to get temperature into those tires. They didn't want to risk losing that time on their outlap. They wanted to make the quick stop and then whack them right as they get out of pit lane. So that's the strategy that they went with. Now they'll see if it makes it to the end.
Thanks, Jamie. Boy, a little traffic there for Dane.
Yeah, we talked about Cameron having a lap of heat in his tires. Well, Pla's in even better shape because he didn't change. One Shank on the wall. Is he happy? He's looking down pit lane. Yes, he feels they closed the delta to the 31 by not taking tires there, and that's the result on the racetrack. It's not a battle for the lead right now, but Pla has pace. Can he get by Cameron, and can he chase down Barbosa? And let's not forget that manufacturer's chase as well. Only 1 point separates Chevrolet from Honda.
Now Pla's last lap at 35.4, Cameron at 37.0 on those colder tires. Westbrook, Oberlin, and Serra, Ford, BMW, Ferrari, and GT Le Mans and GT Daytona. Balzan in the 63 Scuderia Corsa Ferrari leads over Jerome Blikemolen. Again, great strategy by the Riley Motorsports team. Sits second in the Viper. Third is Farnbacher in the Alex Job, number 23 Porsche. In a prototype challenge, Van der Zende leads rather comfortably right now in the Starworks car over Kyle Marcelli for Performance Tech and Steven Simpson now behind the wheel of the 85. So that's what's going on in the other 3 classes. They all have a bit of margin between the leaders and second to third. So this battle right here for second overall. Oh, and Dane may have been held up just a little bit. See what Pla can do down into the 90.
Dane just holds it down on the inside, doesn't open the door. Pla's going to run on him here, but it's probably going to get stymied up through the S's. And then you'll probably see Dane again move to the right side of the straightaway, but this is just helping out Joao Barbosa. The pressure from Pla is really eliminating the charge from Cameron on Barbosa.
Mike Shank was just on the radio to Pla. He said, "Guy, I don't think that those tires are going to make it. Go ahead and wear him out. He's beating you at every apex. Get everything you can out of him." So we'll see if they make it. We'll see if he has to make another stop.
Wow, that's where those P2 cars are really quick, Greg.
Yep.
Saw it with the Mazda as well. Just dynamite through there, through the carousel and down into the chute. DPs seem to get through the bus stop pretty efficiently, but then exiting is where the speed is. just accelerates really well. Remember, they're running the 3.5 liter HPD motor versus the 2.8 last year. It's a struggler against the torque of the DP cars that we've seen before in previous years here at the 6 Hours of the Glen.
Oh, that looks like it's off of the 55 Mazda. Something is happening here. Watch it here, Cal.
Oh, and that's with Bill Oberlin. I spoke earlier, said it was Werner behind the wheel. It's the other German. Bill Oberlin.
It looks like back corner at this point. And as Dane Cameron continues to resist the attack of Olivier Pla, let's check in with Eric Kern. Brian?
Run early on, and Eric, right now though, Dane, after that pit stop, comes out a little bit behind the 5. He's got the 60 behind him. What's he paying more attention to, the 5 in front or Pla behind him?
Yeah, I think he's got to look both directions right now. I mean, that 60 car is flying. We knew the P2 cars are going to be fast here, but yeah, the 5 car, those guys got us on the pit stop, so oh well. But I mean, Dane's flying out there, so I hope he can catch the 5 and get by him and keep that 60 car behind. But our wheel and engineering Corvette's been good all day long, so it's been fun to run up front. We just need to keep it there. Half an hour to go, and you know.
I mean, 5.5 hours, the competition is this close, and it's been intense all day long. When you were in the car, great run. I'm sure you couldn't call Jordan Taylor on the cell phone. Was that kind of a message you kind of gave him on the run to the toe of the boot?
It's kind of one of those things where, you know, you want to push me around, I'm going to push back a little bit. So, you know, no problem. We'll rub a little bit, no issues. But we're going to race hard and race as clean as we can. But there's going to be some bumping. But, you know, we had a fast wheel and engineering Corvette. We got away from them. So, you know, it's going to be a battle right to the end, but it's so much fun to be here for 6 hours and be racing this close. So come on, Dane, we just need one more spot.
Yeah, it's just, like I said, amazing after 5.5 hours that the competition is still this close. Great.
Oh, man, and huge development here, Cal.
Wow, this is just heartbreak for John Doonan, that whole Mazda crew. It was the 55 car. We knew they were having some kind of a low-end misfire issue. Now we see smoke. Flame coming out the left side.
Oh, boy, this is going to be a caution.
Yeah, caution and a shootout. That's good news for Dane Cameron. Not good news for Barbosa.
There's no way, that they leave that there. That has to be a caution. So we're just watching for the indications here. They're going to give him just a moment just in case it's something you can restart. We saw a couple of pops of flame, but it was out of the exhaust pipe.
Try to see if we can get out of the way, maybe, for a safe zone. They'll do their best not to go yellow. Bill Barfield and Paul Walter do such a great job of managing these races, but this is not looking good.
No. I wonder if he's just going to, if there's a cutout there he can back it into. You can see where that piece of bodywork came off over there in that left rear. All right, while this gets sorted out, still staying green at this stage. We're going to step away for just a moment, but it's getting interesting like it hasn't been here at the Glen. We continue under caution. The number 55 at Jonathan Bomarito, the Mazda, carrying the tribute colors to Mazda's overall win at Le Mans 1991. Now on the hook after what looks like a pretty significant engine failure, and they're bringing it around. Since this caution ended up getting called within 30 minutes of the end of the race, it is what they call a short yellow. There's no open pit, and so that's going to change the dynamic here just a little bit. And Jamie, you know, there's no quit in Mazda Motorsports. There's no quit in this team, but the emotional roller coaster has got to be just fierce.
It's the highest of highs to the lowest of lows. You saw it on the face of John Doonan. I saw your head immediately go into your hands when this happened. What was the final issue?
Well, we've been fighting an electrical issue most of the afternoon, and the boys have done an outstanding job driving through it, and unfortunately it finally gave up the ghost. So really tough, but throughout this 4-year program, everybody has continued to challenge ourselves to ultimately get to the top, and thought maybe today was our day. It wasn't, but we're going to turn around a week from today and hopefully give it a go up north in Canada.
You know, in racing, it's easy for the low times to just hold a team down, but you guys have just kept fighting and fighting. Days like today, what hope does that give to these guys behind the wall?
Well, it gives them a lot of hope. They've worked really hard on all the processes so that when we get to a day like today, we can fight up front. I think we proved that Mazdas can run up front, and we're really proud of that. The Mazda brand is always about never stop challenging ourselves to be better. And so what the folks did in 17 years of trying at Le Mans, which we were celebrating this weekend, and that's what we're going to continue to do going forward.
Well, it looks like there's some more exciting things to come. Thank you, John.
Well, Cal, I think one of those exciting things might be next weekend, Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. We have seen how good the P2 cars can be on that track. And right now, these cars, it's a little bumpy. Not exactly the best thing for these cars, but boy, I think the potential there is amazing.
Yeah, the battle will resume there for sure, but it's certainly a disappointing run because they really had pace. I mean, we saw Nunez have that little spin when he got a little bit too impatient, but from that point forward, I think the drivers had the directive that you've got a fast car to win here today. Just be cool. And Tristan did a great job. Certainly Spencer Piggott was sensational, and Bomarito really never had a chance to fully strut his stuff here this afternoon, unfortunately.
And he has stuff to strut. He is a very, very quick driver. We're getting a report since the car is removed. Otherwise, no other issues on the track and no procedures to have to deal with. Lights out on the safety car.
So a bit of a reset here. Dane Cameron, that gap to the guy he's chasing, Barbosa, will be erased here. It'll be interesting to see how Barbosa handles that restart. He certainly got a couple of indicators from Dane on how to do it to good effect. Pla is running those tires. How effective will they be?
This caution
on the double
couldn't have
stint?
hurt him, though.
Couldn't have hurt, that's for sure. But the guys in front do have fresher rubber.
Yep.
Ricky Taylor, can he come to life here? There's Westy. Got a car between he and Orbelin, who's chasing.
And Hand now third.
Two old BMW teammates together, Orbelin and Joey. They're going to have a little battle there for the podium positions, maybe even the win. Who knows? Westy's been tough, though.
And Sarah snuck around Milner before the caution, so they're now fourth. Milner in the Corvette slips to fifth. Fisichella sixth. Garcia seventh in the number 3. And the 911 of Pilet and the 100 of Luer. Bamber and the 912 down a lap, but the top 9 in GT Le Mans all on the same lap. And
here we go.
Here we go.
Oh, Pla's got left. Pla's got absolutely left here.
That, he just didn't expect apparently that restart at all as we are green.
Barbosa didn't have to protect to the inside. Cameron wasn't quite close enough. Now we see that Mazda Claire Westbrook. He wants to get through that apex and get on power because Orbelin's going to come after him. Van der Zande there in the middle of the mix. He's got Marcelli and Simpson, some really quick guys, really close to him for that win in PC today.
Boy, and look at this train. This is an all-out battle for position in GT Le Mans. You see that first number 67 of Westbrook, every GT car behind him. That is for position.
Milner's got to dig deep. They got the championship lead, he and Ollie Gavin. Look at Pla, he is so quick through that corner. Like he's in a different league. And he has erased that gap in half a lap. He saw him across the line. He must have been a second at least behind these guys, and now he's right on their tail. I didn't expect his tires to come to life like that. First time here at Watkins Glen for Olivier Pla. Tell you what, though, when you got top draw drivers like him, they learn quickly. And the nice thing as well is that a lot of the nuances, the bumps in the road, the grip levels, it's all been erased. Everyone's starting with a clean sheet. So for Olivier Pla, he is not at the deficit he normally would be coming to a track for the first time because essentially everyone's relearning it.
Surprised a little bit at the gap that Barbosa's been able to open up on Dane?
Yeah, I am. I mean, some of that could be some aero.
Yep.
But I know the 31 team have really been struggling to get the car exactly where they want it to be today. Pla is close. Pla is really close. He looks to the inside. There's not a lot of slowing down now, though, for turn 1. Here comes the GTLM battle. Orbelin is up on the wheel. There's Joey Hand, his old teammate at BMW for so many years. Sarah's doing a great job. Milner in the fight. Fisichella, Garcia.
That whole group, and Garcia right smack in the middle of that battle for the lead in Prototype Challenge.
Yeah, and they're trying to clear these guys. This could get ugly. Van der Zande can't afford to hang around much because he realized that Marcelli in that 38 machine is coming hard.
Oh, Oh, that was a needle thread there. We're getting a report of some debris in the turn 9 area. There it is.
Wow.
But from what and where, it's not necessarily in line. We're getting a report to number 90 down in pit lane, so you wonder if we got, well, let's see if we can find out what may have happened.
Top of the screen, that's the 85. Yep. The 90 car's right there. If he cut down some tire on some debris, because he suddenly got jumped into pit lane. They were on board with Ryan Dial. Look up at the top of the screen. Car's going to be right there, almost in front. Oh, face of action by the BMW. Lucas Lur there just avoiding that.
Boy, and Balzan got a little bit of a break, giving him some room to Andy Lally. We're going to take our final break before the checker flag. When we come back, we'll take you all the way to the finish here at the Glen. "16 minutes remain in the Sahlen's 6 hours of the Glen. And we are getting ready to go back to green. In fact, for Joao Barbosa and Dane Cameron, they have.
They have, and it's kind of cut and paste from that previous restart in terms of Plow having a few car lengths between those guys. I don't quite understand his reasoning there.
And then look behind that Mazda that's bobbing and weaving. That is your GT Le Mans battle. Westbrook leading Oberlin, leading Hand, and Sarah in the Ferrari. And that was, I think, a very defensive move by Giancarlo Fisichella, not wanting to let one of those prototype challenge cars blunt his charge. Speaking of battles here, that is Bleeker Mullen and Aschenbach duking it out for 4th in GT Daytona.
Hey guys, it'll be interesting to see what Dane Cameron can do. And talking to him before the race, they had bet that it was going to get hotter throughout the day. And they had tried to set that car up so that the track, when it got loose, when it got hotter, they'd have a good balance in their car. Well, guess what? The temperature is actually cooler now than it was at the beginning of the race. And while the sun shone on the racetrack for a while, I think that setup direction that they went may not be working out for him right now, as Olivier Pla all over the back of the 31.
Oh, and alongside,
get creative. He looks to the outside. Here comes Ricky Taylor. Dane's not going to be easy to pass. Taylor's got to run on Pla. Pla has to defend down into turn 8.
Watch for Taylor get a run on the exit. Not quite close enough. Ooh, Pla.
Pla's struggling for grip a little bit.
He is.
And those tires finally got to the end of where they're efficient. We'll have to wait and see if he can rebound here. Just certain corners, that car just rockets off. The acceleration off some of these corners. Look at that, how he's just taken off from Ricky Taylor in 2 or 3 corners.
Meanwhile, at GT Daytona, Balzan leads in the Scuderia Corsa Ferrari. Andy Lally still second in the Magnus Audi. Farnbacher still 3rd in the Team Seattle Porsche. Number 23, Bleeker Mullen 4th. In the 33 Viper, Aschenbach 5th.
Those cautions will help those guys a little bit, because they are on for a long stint. I think some of those guys are going to be in for about near to 3 hours. That is torturous here in these conditions, and with the grip levels that are being afforded to the race cars this weekend with this new track surface. Joel Miller sits there. He's still a lap down in the 5th position. Jamie, you got Mike Shank there. What does he think? Do they have a shot at this?
Well, Mike, you guys made the decision not to take those left-hand tires. Seeing the low grip levels now, would you go back and change your mind?
No way, no way. We're the fastest car out there. We just don't have any torque down low right now. We can't do anything with these DPs when we're behind. I can't say how proud I am of Honda and all my guys, including the drivers. And Olivier Pla is just ridiculous. He's got the fastest lap by half a second. So no matter the result, I'm proud of everybody. And trust me, he'll try it right to the end.
With the speed that he has in the car and 15 minutes to go, is it enough?
It's going to be very difficult. You have teammates playing games, and Dane is parking us at every apex. So if we hit Dane, then, so be it. He's been warned.
All right. Harsh words, guys.
Boy, Boy, and here comes Pla. Got to run that time. You talked about how that car just explodes out of that final corner.
Yeah, this is going to get touchy because Pla's going to stuff it in there sooner or later. And Dane is not easy to pass. Dane is parking it at the corners, I think, as fast as the car wants to go. He's parked in comparison to the speed of Pla at times, that's for sure.
But the comment made by Shank does have some validity just in terms of the torque, and when you're a momentum car and you're trapped behind a car that's got torque, maybe not corner speed.
It's the ebb and flow.
You bet. So it makes it interesting.
Both have advantages in certain areas. Pla needs to roll that mid-corner speed, and with Dane not being able to do it, that is certainly stymieing Olivier's approach. Look at this. Really tight there with Joey Hand and Bill Aublin. They are duking it out here for the second position. Westy's gapped these guys a little bit. Aublin hanging on. I don't think that turn signal is an indicator which side to pass Joey Hand.
Exactly. That just shows you it's a street-derived car, doesn't it?
Tell you what, really impressive run by Milner here. We talk about the BOP and how certain cars don't have it. Well, suddenly when it counts, the Corvette is very much in the mix right now. Milner doing a tremendous job just sitting under a second behind these two.
Yeah, was able to get back around Danielle Serra and pick up that 4th spot. Serra in the Scuderia Corsa GT Le Mans, number 68, now in 5th. And for Joey, looking at that graphic scheme on that BMW, did he and Bill share that car when it was painted like that?
Exactly. He drove for Tom Milner in PTG. He's driven for Bobby Rahal's team with Billy Aublin. They're really good friends and remain so, even though they're in different camps right now, driving for different manufacturers. They are best of buddies, but right now it's all on the line for big points for their mark, for their manufacturer, and in the driver's standings.
I think Bill threw that blinker on just to be a distraction. Yeah, at this stage of a 6-hour race of this prestige, you go to every trick in the book, I would think.
Serra doing another nice job for Scuderia Corsa.
Yeah, he is.
They're not doing all of the rounds of the championship, just the Patrón Cup plus the 2 West Coast races at Laguna and Long Beach, but have been very impressive every time we've seen them this season.
Yeah, put that car on pole at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. Danielle did. He shared that weekend with Alessandro Balzan, who's been doing a fair amount of driving this year as well. There's a look at the number 4 of Milner.
When you look at his outright fast lap, he's still quite a bit off these guys up front, but just superb racecraft, great execution by the Corvette team in the pits have kept them very much in the mix. This is a great result for the championship leaders.
Oh, it's huge in terms of the championship. Behind them, you just saw that plume of smoke, and that's this ongoing battle between Simpson and the 85 prototype challenge car and Bradley to the inside. Simpson,
there's a touch.
They have been absolutely banging on each other ever since that caution came out, and it was contact that precipitated it. And Cal, they have further through that lap, they were banging on each other, and it continues here.
Richard Bradley, the Englishman, surprise entry for Peter Barron this weekend, but he can get the job done. He won Le Mans last year for the KCMG team. He has a lot of speed, has only competed once in North America before. That was at the WEC round at COTA last year, but he's showing tremendous pace here.
Now this is from a few laps ago. Watch this.
Well, that should be his position, but Steven Simpson says, don't do that to me, I'm going to come back at you. He didn't like that move. Bradley kind of ran him off the road, and he really got the retaliation that you would expect.
And then they just had their other moment where Simpson turned into him.
I think Bo Barfoot will look at that and say, well, you pushed him off, he's got the right to come back at you.
That's been sort of you know, some of the officiating approach is you race the way you'd like others to race you, and if you do that, don't come crying to us.
Exactly.
When there's an issue.
I like it. I like the mentality. We want to see good, hard racing, but if it crosses the line, you're not going to get my my magic wand to correct it if they come back at you.
Boy, Balzan in that number 63 Scuderia Corsa machine now is eased away a little bit from Andy Lally in the 44 Magnus Porsche. That's Jörg Bergmeister down a number of laps after that tire issue. that he is working by. There's Lally.
Yeah, this is tight.
There's Farnbacher.
Lally needs to clear Bergmeister as fast as he can and keep the pressure on Balzan, but the little Italian is one of the cleanest drivers out there, but he is a hard charger. He's not going to give up the lead easily. They have the championship lead, will extend it if he can maintain this lead position tonight.
And Bleekemolen now has dropped about 3 seconds off of Farnbacher. Bleekemolen in 4th in the Viper.
He's probably tired.
Yeah, exactly, just flat out winded. And he's got a huge scrap behind him with Aschenbach, Katzberg in the 540 Ferrari, and Keen, the Porsche, and Keen in the 22 Porsche.
Bergmeister moves to the side, lets the other Porsche through. Farnbacher as he tries to chase down the 2 leaders. The Team Seattle Porsche.
6 minutes, 40 seconds remaining.
Everyone should be in good shape. There's no fuel issues that I can see looking at timing and scoring for any of these leaders in any of the classes.
Westbrook now has been able to ease away from Oberlin to 3.6 seconds, but Joey Hand still within just a couple of tenths, hounding, and then another couple seconds back to Milner.
Yeah, that 67 car of Westbrook has been hooked up here this weekend. His last lap was 1.4 seconds quicker than Bill Oberlin, who's defending from Joey Hand, so that's probably compromising his lap time at the same moment.
Well, I'll tell you, Cal, exactly what you had talked about and exactly what the Continental Tire engineers thought might happen. We're starting to see these cars really climbing the curbs in that inner loop, and that's why they recommended up the pressures. We know you're going to do it.
Well, you'll roll the dice a little bit. You know, over 6 hours, you don't want to continuously do it. But right now, if you're looking for the extra tenth or two, like Andy Lally and Balzan, they will start to abuse those curbs a little bit more and just hope that the tires can hang on and withstand that abuse.
Up front, Barbosa leads Cameron by 2 seconds. Pla 3/10 back. In 3rd, Taylor a couple of seconds off Pla in 4th. And then Joel Miller in the number 70 Mazda 5th, but a lap down. 5 minutes remaining.
Here's the leader. Look at Pla, he's still on the tail end of Dane Cameron, and this will be frustrating Mike Shank and Honda. And he's got to fight. He's only 4 points out of the championship lead. He's not just going to give these positions away. So he's going to fight tooth and nail in the last hour of any motor race, particularly when you get down to the last 5 minutes like we're looking at now on the clock.
This is going to be a big swing in a way for the number 5. The number 5 for Barbosa and that team, because they came in tied with the number 10 in points.
Look at this.
Oh, a new leader.
No.
No, that's Hand. That's the battle. That's Hand attacking on Oberlin.
Wow. We got word that maybe Oberlin had got to the front. This is the battle for second as Joey Hand is really putting the heat on his old teammate, Bill Oberlin. Will this turn into tears? He goes to the outside, get creative. Joey Hand makes the move. Can he make it stick? They accelerate up to turn 9. There's no rub yet.
Clean.
Beautiful. That was respect between those two guys. They know each other so well. And it's sometimes hard to go racing against one of your best mates, but that was good, clean, hard racing.
Respectful racing. That's absolutely great. Hard, but respectful. And boy, does that highlight the different profiles in the greenhouse on that BMW and that Ford GT.
Well, if they made it any lower, you wouldn't even see it in your rearview mirror, would you?
No.
See Oberlin there. He's arms and elbows. I think the handling's got away on Billy Oberlin.
He and Dirk Werner have given that a tremendous ride, though.
That's been a great battle right through qualifying. It was Ford, BMW, Ford in qualifying, but right now Westbrook continues to lead. And with that, he's going to throw himself very much into the championship picture with his teammate Ryan Briscoe. They will close in on the Corvettes tonight.
It's going to be interesting. I mean, 3 minutes exactly to go. Milner has been lapping over a second quicker than Oberlin did on his last lap. So is the podium secure for the BMW?
Very good point. I mean, every position is crucial when you're battling for a championship. It's not just your good days, it's your bad days, which really win you championships, I feel. Yeah, you're going to get a couple of wins if you're on a championship charge, but when you're in a hole, how hard do you push? How hard do you grind? What can you get out of the day?
Getting a report. Next time by for Barbosa, white flag. Here we go as he works the inner loop. And then Cameron, then Pla. This lap and one more here at the Sahlen 6 hours of the Glen.
This is going to be a huge delta. They came into this race tied for the lead, but right now the 10 car sits down in the 4th position. So that will give them a 7-point swing. And if Cameron can hang on to that 2nd spot, I think that will tie him and Eric Curran with the 10 car in the championship.
And it looked like Pla has got a tremendous run on Cameron behind Barbosa. Just caught it. That last shot, see if he was able to do anything with it. No.
Well, Pla is going to be pushing hard. The Dane Cameron has a slightly different perspective in terms of he's very much in the championship picture. How much will he put on the line to try and hang on to that 2nd position? Pla really has nothing to lose. He's not in the big picture of the championship anyway, and the 60 car isn't either. So I'm sure Mike Shank is just saying do everything you can with 1 lap to go.
Indeed, white is out. There's Cameron. There is Pla on well-used Continental tires.
Well, Mike Shank said to Jamie, Dane keeps parking us. If something happens, so be it. He's got the warning, and you wonder what he's saying to Olivier Pla on the radio at the same time. Is he giving the same message to his driver in terms of just go for it? There's half a hole, try and shoot the gap. Traffic up ahead.
Oh boy, last lap.
Turn a BMW in front that Dane Cameron won a championship with. He commits to the outside. Just reading the traffic perfectly. Here comes Westy.
Looking for his white flag. 5.6 seconds in hand over teammate Joey Hand.
Well, after a slow start to the year, suddenly this Ford GT has come to life. Won at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, had the sensational win at Le Mans. Can they make it 3 victories in a row?
And Westbrook has just been magic in that car this weekend. Of course, he's gotten plenty of seat time.
Joey Hand just laid down a 41.27, fastest lap of the race as he chases his teammate. Could have been a question of what if he'd cleared Oberlin a little bit sooner, could he ever chase down Westbrook? He just pips by 100th of a second. Westbrook the fastest lap of the race.
And there's your GT Daytona battle. Ball's on over Lally. And here we go. Barbosa, the checker flag flies. Cameron got a lot closer than he had been because of some traffic, but it wasn't enough. That last lap, that ended up 0.7 of a second, the official margin of victory at this point. The 2 team cars, Pla in 3rd. Here comes Renger van de Zende, who once he got some clear track to run on, opened up a handy margin over Kyle Marcelli.
He did, and he will extend his championship lead with Alex Popoff tonight. Another win for Starworks. Great job.
2nd win in a row this season, 2nd win in a row here at the Sahlen's 6 hours of the Glen for that team and that driver. Now we watch for Richard Westbrook working his way through. This will essentially be a 3rd straight win for the Ford GT. This car at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, and here, assuming he gets through, and of course the team car at Le Mans. Westbrook, Cal, last turn onto the front straight. Ford wins at Watkins Glen in the Sahlen 6 hours.
Wow, what a race. A 1-2 finish. Ryan Briscoe, a proud new daddy. What a way to celebrate.
Yeah, it's a great birthday present for Blake. A big win for Dad. And here is GT Daytona. Alessandro Balzan doing exactly what he is capable of. A superb drive. Lally could never really dip underneath the 2nd close. Balzan and Scuderia Corsa and Ferrari bring it home with a win at Watkins Glen. Lally will be 2nd for Magnus in the Audi. Farnbacher will be 3rd for Team Seattle in the Porsche. And look at the celebrations there. That's that team and Christina and Alessandro's 2nd win of the season. And for Jeff Siegel, that's by my count another win. Sebring,
tasty,
Le Mans here. Yeah, he's becoming super sub.
Wow, that's incredible.
Fantastic. And there is Barbosa.
Tell you what, 3 of the winners tonight, Greg, extend their lead in the championship. You've got Barbosa, Van der Zande, Balzan, but the Audi move of the race, it was a great one between 2 old teammates. 2 good friends, through the boot, through the toe, Joey Hand trying to get that second position from Bill Auberlen. It's a run down to the turn 8 brake zone. We said get creative, but watch the limits. And this is putting it all on the line. To the outside. Bill could have roughed him up. Joey uses every inch of the road he can, has the inside line, doesn't rough his ex-teammate up, completes the pass. That was fantastic stuff.
Again, as we said, respectful racing between 2 of the best. And up front, Westbrook wins in GT Le Mans, Balzan in Daytona, Van der Zande in Prototype Challenge, and Joao Barbosa in Prototype. We'll be back to hear from our winners. The celebrations in Victory Circle are absolutely intense. Screams, yells, cheers and whoops, and standing right down there amongst it all is Justin Bell.
I tell you what, you must have been able to hear that yell from Joao Barbosa and Christian Fittipaldi while we were in commercial break. Guys, amazing. That was a case of brains over brawn all the way. Brilliant.
No, this race is so tough, and obviously there was a lot of cars very fast, but what a team. Actually Express, the Mustang sampling Corvette was awesome. I could push the Continental tires all the way. I mean, the car was unbelievable, and just as a team, what a great team effort, really deserved, and that's what we needed to go to the second half of the season. And I mean, we proved today that this team is here to win. And
Christian, you said to me, you said we did it because we had racecraft and in-car and out-car race strategy.
Well, absolutely, Justin. And I had a conversation with Bobby Rahal this morning when we were having breakfast. And he asked me, how was it in qualifying? I said, it was so-so. But you never know, like the race is long, and I think we can do it on racecraft. And we definitely did it, and I don't know what to say. Like, we're extremely happy, and I echo what my friend here just said. It's a great start of the second half of the season.
Perfect. These guys deserve every bit of this celebration. Brian?
Westbrook talking to Mike Hall, standing here with Ryan Briscoe as well. That's 3 wins in a row at the Sahlen 6 Hours of the Glen for you, Richard. This time with Ford. Mike Hall said, hey, Le Mans is now gone. It's time to focus on the championship, and you guys are going to close well in on that today.
Yeah, I mean, it's just what an amazing time to be a Ford driver right now. It's just everything's coming together. A lot of hard work in the winter, and, you know, a tough start for everyone. And just step by step, just been getting there, and confidence is booming, and it's just an absolute pleasure to be part of this team right now.
And why wouldn't you have confidence with a ride like this? And Ryan Briscoe, great run for you. You come away with a victory, but the most important thing may be still on your wrist. Is it still there? There it is. It's the band to get him back into the hospital to see Nicole and Blake. That you get to take that back with you. How special does this weekend feel? I think it's one that you'll remember for a long time.
I mean, yeah, I mean, definitely unique. Not the way you want to go racing all the time, but a little bit stressful at times, especially on Friday. But Richard did an awesome job Friday, Saturday. He did all the laps, stuck it on pole, and set quickest lap of the race as well today. So he was on fire, and couldn't ask for a better teammate. But so proud and excited to go back to the girls tonight.
Closing in on that championship, it's heating up here in the WeatherTech SportsCar Championship. Jamie?
Well, in GTD, Alessandro Balzan brought the car home to the checkered flag victorious, but they had to help you out of the car. You needed water immediately. You were in just shy of 3 hours. How difficult was that final stint for you?
Really difficult. The pace we had was qualifying. We really squeezed everything from the car. I think I'm so proud to be with Cristina, with Jeff, and with the Scuderia Corsa. We're having so much fun. Today we had some issue, but the team once more managed the problem in a fantastic way. They give me a perfect car, not even one scratch, and really, I give 110%, so I'm really, really happy.
It was a fantastic drive. These Italian smiles are contagious, and for Christina Nielsen, Christina, you've said all season long, it's all about consistency to bring home this championship. For you today, where did that fall?
Above expectations, I would say. We had a good run last year with 5 podiums, but not a win. To have 2 wins halfway into the season is something I never imagined, and I cannot thank my teammates Alessandro Balzano, Jeff Siegel, and of course Scuderia Corsa for bringing it all together and putting in such a great effort, because it wasn't flawless today. We had our issues and everyone pushed through them, and Joe, our engineer and strategist, gave us the perfect strategy. It was the perfect day.
Perfect strategy to bring home those checkered flags. Jeff, you won at the 24 Hours of Le Mans. You win at the 6 hours here at Watkins Glen. For you as the endurance driver, what does this do to your confidence?
It's pretty crazy. I mean, I can't ask for a better few weeks. I mean, Watkins Glen was always my favorite track. It was my first professional win here at the 6 Hours of the Glen, I think 2007, but in a different brand. So for me, I wanted to do something with Ferrari. I mean, the last few years for me have been all with Ferrari, all about Ferrari. Winning Le Mans and Ferrari, that's kind of the top, but this race was always pretty special. So it's unbelievable that we brought home the win in this one. I'm just so appreciative to be a part of this team and looking forward to rejoining them at Petit.
Great job today. Congratulations to everybody. Justin?
Well, Starworks really came out on top here. Brilliant result. Alex Popoff, Ringer van der Zande. What a race. We were just talking about it. It was chaos out there in your class.
I mean, for us, not so much as for the others. I mean, we were leading quite a bit, so but it was a real fight. At the end, Kyle Michelli was really quick, and I think an hour to go, we lost one and a half hour to go. We lost the radio, so I couldn't hear anything like what was going on around me. So I just pedaled all the way to the finish, but it was good enough to win, so I'm very happy.
Well, that was Peter Barron, who you've been talking to, so it doesn't matter. But Alex, that was a great result.
Yeah, it was great. We came here just for trying to get another win. We just 2 out of 2, even coming out of Detroit, getting better on the points on the championship. We're going for, I like to see for the championship. He just wants to win races, but we're on it and we're going to fight for this championship. I want to say hi to my kids at home, Alex and Marielle. They're not here, but I love you, and we're going for this championship.
Guys, smiley faces down here.
Absolutely, and well-earned and well-deserved. And as Joao Barbosa got out of the car, his 3rd prototype class win here at the Sahlen 6 Hours of the Glen to go along with his double in 2012 and 2013. We'll be back. An absolutely glorious afternoon here at Watkins Glen International as we take a look now at our BMW race results for the Sahlen 6 Hours. And Barbosa Fittipaldi getting the win. And you take a look in PC, Van der Zande and Papa open it up. And in 3 of the 4 classes, Cal, as you talked about it, obviously they are stretching things out just a little bit. But we're going to get down to Brian Till because he's been able to corner 2 old teammates.
Yeah, Greg, I don't know if I need to stand in between them or not, but it was, yeah, you talk about 2 old teammates. One of the greatest passes that we saw out there, they kind of exchanging words here. So tell me from your point of view, and then I'll get Bill's rebuttal.
That's just good old-fashioned racing right there, man. I mean, there's no problems here. We just, you know, it's tough when you know somebody so well. I know Bill knows me. I drove with him a long time, learned a lot from him, so I knew he was going to be thinking, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And I just tried to do the opposite of what he thought I was going to do. But great day for us, a Ford GT. You know, the boys won, and we got second. But, hey, if you don't like that, you don't like racing.
Good time. So, hey, it's one of the best guys. I mean, come on. And that was good, clean racing. I mean, I was sort of trying to get in the way a little bit. It's a big car. I can get in the way. But Joey was so good today, and that Ford GT was terrific. You got to hand it to him. BMW M6 GTLM. We're finding our way. We're climbing back up. Laguna, we sort of stumbled. Now we're looking good again. IHG hotels, go stay there. We love them. Michelin tires. Everybody had them here. That's why they're all at the front.
And this is going to go for the next 5 minutes, but we got to go to Jamie. It was great racing.
Well, it was Andy Lally who brought the number 44 home for John Potter and Dion von Moltke. But Andy, you're frustrated standing here with the 2nd place finish. As hard as you were pushing out there, how much more time do you think you needed?
I don't know. I mean, it was. We couldn't gain much on that Ferrari. It was hauling. I mean, this is the 4th year in a row that Magnus has been on the podium. John opened with an awesome stint. Dion did an awesome middle stint. We've got a third, a second, and a second in the last couple of in the last 4 years here. So missing out on this one was pretty tough for me. I think we're NAEC points leaders, maybe. I'm not sure, but anyway, thanks to Audi. Thanks to Magnus Racing and all our guys for hustling. I wanted to do one here for Ian Prout, who we lost this year, who was a big fan of Watkins Glen, the SCDDA guys, and just looking forward to Mosport. We got a great car. Just, second's kind of tough sometimes.
I don't want to crush your hopes and your number crunching, but you guys are not the points leader. It is the number 23. But John, Andy told me before you got over here that he thinks you might even give up a Daytona win to make up for a Watkins Glen. Why does this race mean so much to you?
Well, I don't know if I'd give up a Daytona win, but this is my first Grand Am race ever was here. My first amateur podium was here in 2005 in any car, and it's always had a soft spot in my heart. I've done every one of these races since 2007 here, and I love the track, I love the town, I love the people, and I just really want to bring home a win. And the crew busted their butts. These guys busted their butts, and we'll get them next year.
One more year, guys. Congratulations on the podium.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you that you can hear the frustration, but what a run they put in. But it's frustrating sometimes you come through that close and don't get it here. And, obviously we've been talking about the Tequila Patrón North American Endurance Cup and the cumulative leaders at this point, number 5, building that margin a little bit in Prototype Challenge, a three-way tie. Look at that, GT Le Mans, the number 4 Corvette, of course, and in GT Daytona, the number 23 Cal. We started this talking about how would this track race. The end of the race, the fastest race laps were all faster than the qualifying lap records here. This place is special, but next place, Canadian Tire Motorsport Park in a week. Boy, talk about just going right after it.
Well, a lot of these drivers are tired, but they don't have much time to rest. In 7 days' time, we're going to be back at it at one of the fastest, most fearsome racetracks in all of North America. It's going to be sensational. It was a great race today. I really enjoyed it.
Join our coverage July 10th, Fox Sports 1, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Thanks so much for joining us here at the Glen for the entire production team. It's been a treat, and we'll see you in Canada.